All right, welcome back to the Guildies podcast, episode 10. Big
Yay.
milestone for us. When we initially started this, I said I was going to put it on other platforms when we got 10 episodes in, which I think I originally interpreted it as it couldn't be on other ones until 10 episodes. That doesn't seem right. But, that's... I'm doing this one naked, so...
What's the minimum for a curiosity stream?
Yeah. Yes. Good start. Good cold open. Okay, so I'm joined, as always, by my good friends Bear, Dylan, and Sean. I was going to do you guys individually and talk.
Shalom.
There you go.
Hello. Hello.
There you go. And today we're going to be talking about WoW again, but not just WoW in general. We're going to be talking about the age-old debate of Alliance versus Horde. Now, I'm going to preface this really quick with, we have among us someone who may not give this a fair shake.
All right. Hold on.
But
what could you possibly mean?
Yeah, what could I mean? But we're gonna do our gosh darndest.
Gosh darned,
Yeah.
God darned, darned.
Cool. I'm gonna get to edit that out. That's
That in post.
It's fucking horrible. Okay, so that was so bad. Okay. Anyways, I want to start with the very beginning because we can. I think there's a few levels to this debate, but I think we can take classic WoW and make a definitive point. Are you fellas ready for it?
Dude,
Time to anger people.
So think about the classic WoW races, okay? On the Horde, you have Orc, Undead, Tauren, and Trolls, Darkspear Trolls, okay? Pretty pog, if you ask me. I think that's a great lineup. You know what you have on the Alliance?
White bread.
Human, shorter human, even shorter human, Night Elf.
purple human.
Yeah, subist human. And I think this is a great time to stir the pot some more. I think that... Ooh, you typing an essay there, son?
Shut up.
Typing of the dead over there?
Yeah. Ooh.
Type to learn?
Now that's what we should do. Sonic's Fun House.
Yeah, dude. Map Blaster?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, absolutely. I think that when you talk about playing classic WoW, it's already totally fueled by nostalgia. I cannot imagine playing classic WoW and then rolling like a human.
But that's what you have to roll.
I know, exactly. That's like the racial.
Are there still not completely non-viable classes and specs in classic WoW like there was in real old WoW?
I think classic WoW is pretty true to form at this point.
I think at this point because the internet's progressed so far that you can make a non-class back then. I feel like now those completely unviable classes are viable, but they're still a super big. I think Paladin, the damage Paladin, whatever the retribution is still super not desired.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're just needed for raid groups at that point. I still think Ret Paladin is auto attack central.
Yeah, it's never every a point in WoW that I've played or heard people talk about it, nobody has ever been wow, I love Ret Paladin. It's always the bottom of the barrel for every DPS chart, PvP or PvE. Nobody is playing it really.
Yeah, right now they're in an extremely good spot, but Ret Paladin really hasn't been viable pretty much until Legion. It took 10, 15 years.
You have to think about it too. Also, for the thing that's unique about Classic WoW is that two of the classes are faction bound. So only Alliance can be paladins and only Horde can be shamans. Which, and like we said, with paladins having a tough time over the years, is that paladins in Classic were you were there to auto attack. You were brought along for raids for buffs. Like they were considered a good class, but not enjoyable
It
by
was just
any
like a
means.
support DPS, I guess.
Yeah.
Um.
Then,
So I feel like we can shore up the debate strictly on that alone. That like, dude, think about you could be an orc or undead or tauren or troll. Like, how did anyone in 2006 or 7 be like, I'm gonna roll a no?
Yeah,
well,
it's
Go
it's
on,
interesting.
Sean.
Like,
Go on. No.
My first main was a gnome because my friends played on Alliance.
Hella
I
yo.
will admit it.
Go on, Bear.
It was a short-lived tenure with the Alliance, that's for sure.
anyway, it's interesting like topic of like the people choosing. Like I know like a lot of people obviously want to play WoW and have like a fantasy game and everything, and they want to be like a cool orc or a tauren or even like a space goat or whatever the freaking
The Draenei. Yeah.
Drano, right? But then there's those like people that play WoW and like they treat it more as like a real like more RPG, I guess, in a sense or so, where it's like they wanna be the person they're playing, so
Sure.
they'll play like,
Yeah,
they'll play
they wanna
a
roleplay a
human,
little bit. Yeah.
you know.
sure.
And it's like it's
Maybe if
interesting.
you play
It's-
on Emerald Dream, for instance.
well, in that case,
Yeah.
most humans are females, so
Yeah.
Hell
Yeah, very strange that on the RP server it's like
Yeah.
97% female humans. Can't
Yeah,
figure that one out.
Keep your heart out.
You also have to think too is that like for Classic, what made Alliance especially boring is that you were basically for most classes you wanted to be human because they had like especially well depending on what if you wanted to do PvP or PvE because for PvP they had every man for himself, which is the CC removal.
Yeah, very good.
So
Still
like
have it.
it's
Yeah.
right. So it's like that was like if you're gonna play PvP and it's a class that a human can be, then you're playing human. Like
Yeah.
for PvE, there was more options. Like I know like Dwarf Priest was like I think that's the main race you want to be for a priest. But like the racials do matter now, but not to the extent that they did back then. So there was definitely legit reasons to be Alliance or Horde, like from a optimization perspective.
Right. And for a long time they almost did away with it. Like MoP era like racials were like almost not when at least when you talk about like PvP, it was so much more you just being good at the game than like having a good racial. Racials now, there's a few classes that like just benefit in like like what I'm like the Zandalari Paladin right now is like unfucking believable. Like it probably should get nerfed. Honestly. But yeah, for a long time it like didn't even matter. I guess I should say MoP era because they wanted it to be like a competitive esports game, you know. You know
What I come to WoW for.
Yeah, it's what I come to WoW
Esports.
for. But let's talk about current retail WoW. Let's talk about just the base game, not allied races, because that's a whole nother can of slagmaw.
You have allied worms.
Yeah. But I've been turning this one over for a little bit. I'm not sure. I think I am sure, but I want to give the Alliance something, right?
they need it. So.
They do. I like Draenei and Worgen and Night Elves, actually.
Hey,
I think
they're trying to do the right thing, okay?
they're the good guys.
They're nice guys.
Yeah, they're Gryffindor. So
Yeah. I mean, 10 points for that.
yeah. Yes. Absolutely. You know what? All three of those have looked pretty good in Mogs. I'm gonna keep it straight up with you, and both Draenei and Night Elf have pretty good racials.
I like Draenei.
Yeah, dude.
I don't.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh,
Sorry.
I don't. No, I don't even like Draenei. So.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not. I don't. What don't you like about Draenei, Bear?
I just originally when we did the three
The moats.
paladins,
That was amazing.
the three paladins or the walking tanks or whatever you want to call it. It was fun and it was cool, but just the more I played them, it's just I just don't like. I don't like the. I just don't like the goat. Like the fact that they're called space goats. And it's kind of more.
I don't
like the
I
whole
don't think
hoof thing
they're
on the
actually
feet.
called that.
Well, no, I know, but like the nickname that the community has given them from the Horde side or whatever. It's.
Right.
I know, like the. I just don't like the voice acting stuff. It just is. It really. Like again at the start it was like cool, but then it just like wore out pretty
Bear
hard.
plays with game volume on. Okay.
I do play with them going on.
Aren't they supposed to be like?
Like Spain? Is it Spain? I don't
They
know.
were like Russian.
Yeah,
From
they're
what I
like
remember.
Slavic kind of. Yeah.
Oh yeah, true. Still
I was gonna say Italian, but
My
that-
wife.
Italian.
Did you
Yeah,
say-
I don't know. It's
Did you
just
say my wife?
Yeah.
It's Middle
My
East
wife.
Asia, buddy. What are you doing?
My wife.
but I don't know. The more.
Oh,
Jesus fucking- But yeah, and then like as I learned more about their like as I've been introduced to characters from the book or like other media and just learning about like their whole background of like coming from another planet and they've got like pretty much an identical flip of their race, which is their race, but they're all evil or whatever. And
Yeah, have you looked into the lore for the Lightforged?
I'm not so much the light. Aren't they like they're ascended from the religious thing or whatever?
They
I forgot the name of it.
they stayed behind in Argus to like
Mhm.
defend against the Legion, and then they became like fascists.
Right.
They became
Oh.
these like battle hardened like Naru loving fascists.
Yeah, they went ultra.
Yeah.
They're like ultra fanatical.
You see that in
Good.
alternate
You-
timeline Draenor too, that they're trying
Yeah,
they like
you
try
see
and
it-
convert and kill the
Yeah.
Magar orcs.
Yeah, if yeah the allied race Magal Orc quest where you go back and it's that bitch
Dude,
you
like,
save in the introduction for what's it called, the Draenor
From Urel?
is the other one that's you find her in like a cave.
Yeah,
in
yep,
the
Urel.
first- Yeah, and
Yeah.
she's like leading like a whole section of them because she's like super fanatical about it. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I just came to like not like them as much, you know. Just, nah.
Well,
There aren't
honestly,
enough fanatical fucking
Yeah.
dickheads.
Before we get too far into current WoW, I would like to introduce the surprise guest on our podcast for this episode, Asmongold.
Oh my god, we are not.
Ooh.
Happening.
Tough crowd.
Yeah. Listen, I don't think we should. I don't-
I've had that one brewing for about 5 minutes.
That's good. That's
I believe that you
that's,
mean that.
that's bad.
Anyway.
That's not good. The Worgen are also like a pretty fun race, and they've also done a ton with customization, which they got actually I think like the second or third most behind like Orc and Night Elf. They got a lot, and it looks really good. And Worgen honestly is a good.
I like Worgen.
Yeah, they're like a
Yeah.
fun race. Gilneas is a fun starting zone, I guess.
They have cool
I like
casting
their,
animations.
Also true.
What's their passive? Isn't it that like their fur
They can
clips
turn
through their
into a-
armor?
What the hell?
Yeah, damn.
Isn't it like you just turn into a wolf or
I
something?
thought they had a
Like-
speed boost or something.
Well,
yeah,
so
they
they
can
have-
get on all fours.
Yeah, they have
and
Running
run.
Wild, which is their like
That is pretty sweet.
that one's fun. But they also I think get critical strike boost, and it's supposed to be like Bloodlust or Rampage or something. I forget what it's called.
Mm.
It's pretty good, and they also get a skinning buff.
They do the crazy thing, the
Full
skinning
hypocritical.
buff.
Yeah, you know, 'cause dog.
That's what dogs do. They
Takes
skin
one to-
people.
Takes one to skin one.
Yeah,
Well.
you know. Anyway, anyways,
Oh, this episode 10.
yeah, we're done. This is it. Sean's gone. Sean's been
Yep.
deported to Ireland.
Yeah.
You've
been
killed
canceled.
Sean.
Ireland, yeah.
Back. Pandaren.
Mm.
Yeah.
I liked him as NPCs. Don't like him as playable races.
You know, they're like not the best to play. I'll give you that. They're like kind of distracting and gigantic, and
they're as much I know. There's like clearly like serious like panda characters in the lore and everything, and it's cool. Like the War Crimes book, there's a lot of cool panda characters in that, but it's just the animations, and this is more like obviously an in-game thing, but it's it feels more goofy and comedic than serious, which without its tone, you know. Like I don't want to be running and my guy casts a firebolt or something and his whole belly jiggles. It's fucking stupid. I'm sorry.
I'm kind of in that camp as well. Like, I wish Kung Fu Panda never came out for that reason.
That was like that's like
Like, I
the
wanna
joke that
like
everyone
it.
makes. That's the same thing as like the Drain
It
Eye
really
thing.
is. You know, it's like the obvious joke, and I want to like it, but yeah, it definitely seems like they kind of made a silly choice, but then we're like, no, like, we mean it, like, it's serious. But then it's like a big you know, like, how are
Yeah,
young people now, like, not gonna just really go wild with that?
Well,
I don't
they did when they came out. I don't know if you remember,
Yeah.
but it wasn't poorly
Oh, yeah.
received. People didn't, because Mop is, you know, one of the best expansions, like just objectively, but
Yeah, I'm happy to have played regularly during MOP for sure.
it
One of my best
wasn't.
expansions.
Yeah, people like definitely get into it about it.
Yeah,
I mean, I
there's
will
some-
say this: peppers.
good dungeon.
Yeah,
Very good dungeon.
great
Good
dungeon.
dungeon.
Storm Stout, buddy. What are you gonna say?
There's
Dildo?
also a very loud domestic dispute happening in the apartment above me. I'll just go on the record and say that.
Thank you. Well, we're not picking it up,
You're
so
They can go
I
out
honestly
when they
don't
want.
believe it's happening.
I was honestly afraid of that. This girl is screaming "Get out" at the top of her lungs. Anyway.
Really? Like she's doing that right now?
Well, a couple minutes ago was the screaming. Now there's just banging.
Yeah, now
I don't know.
now there's just like it sounds
The
like someone's
headphones back.
beating a watermelon against the floor. I don't really
Yeah,
get
it's like
it.
You should knock on your ceiling with a broom and tell them to shut up. You're trying to record a Guildies podcast.
Bang.
Yeah, but do you
My,
understand?
my
Listen,
windows have just exploded. Anyway,
yeah,
I
Sean,
derailed this enough.
Sean, if you could stop fucking joking about domestic abuse, that'd be.
I'm just recounting that it's happening.
Oh, good. That's good. And you didn't help.
Don't shoot the messenger, dude.
Yeah.
Don't beat the messenger.
He's just Switzerland in this situation.
Yeah.
He's staying neutral.
True.
I'm Switzerland.
So I think for the Alliance, we can say maybe there's 3 good races out of the base 7. Is that reasonable? Night Elf, Draenei, and Worgen?
Are we including
Yeah.
Allied or no?
Not yet.
Okay, then yeah, I'd say I'm iffy on the Draenei, but I do like the Worgen a lot.
I like dwarves, but the thing is, when you look at the Alliance, it's like your eyes kind of glaze over of just like seeing
Right.
3 different heights of human.
Of human, exactly.
Like I
Mhm.
still hate gnomes, but like I mean humans I guess are kind of boring, but I still like playing them to a degree, and I like the dwarves. But it's just when you look at them compared to like seeing like orc undead and tauren, like those are extremely different looking.
Well,
So like
and I think that's a big, you know, because like humans and dwarves aren't the player models don't look like bad or anything. Like they all look fine. They're well done. I just think it's like the absolute most milquetoast thing to do is to play like a human who has like footballs for forearms. I take that back about the player models. The male ones look bad for humans.
They're not great. And they have gotten, what, 10% better in fucking 20 years.
That is probably my number one gripe about the Alliance is that dwarves and gnomes look really stupid, but they're proportioned right. Humans, even after like the billion zillion model changes, still look very, very dated. One of the most dated models I can think of, honestly.
I remember thinking when WoW was newish, I was like, oh, this is like a little cartoony, like a little whimsical, like almost making me think of like a cell shaded type of game. And then it just like didn't change, and it went from being like a little bit charming but kind of normal for like a, just a PC game, to like just way behind. And then it barely improved.
Right.
Yeah, didn't love that.
Right. Well, and for specifically them, because Night Elf males look normal, like Worgen look like the actual model for the body is like really well done. It's like really, current. Same thing with like Draenei males are a little weird. They're like they have gigantic sausage fingers, but
True.
So do like the orcs too. Like, or like
True.
if you go play classic, like I still like kind of the older models. Like they have a charm of being these crusty, like kind of polygonal models.
We use one.
but-
We use them for the podcast.
Well, right.
Yeah,
But like
True.
playing orcs, it's like if you stare at like their hands, it's just like a mitten.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Right.
And it's like it just looks
oven
really weird. Like it's like the
mitten.
fingers aren't as defined as like I remember them being, and I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
Mitten.
No, I feel that way. Well, it went from like now it's like I don't really care if a game doesn't have like the sickest graphics, but the fact that it hasn't changed in so long, it's not really it's not the content of the graphics, it's the unchangedness of it that bothers me. It's like just like put some effort into it.
Right.
At the same time, gamers hate change. So if you change
True.
do a massive
True.
overhaul, I don't remember what the reaction was for all the updates to the
Bad.
animations.
Very bad.
Yeah.
Well, the animations didn't get received so badly, but I remember playing End of Mop into Draenor, which is right when a lot of the big changes happened to the models.
Yeah.
People were pretty pissed. People were like, this looks... I forget what they kept comparing it to at the time. But everyone was like, no, WoW's going to lose its charm. And they were like updating like Tauren from having like 4 polygons on the chin to like having like a round face. It wasn't that bad. But
It's gonna become Overwatch.
that was pre-Overwatch, buddy.
Was it? Or I'm trying to remember the timeline.
2014?
Because it was WoD that they did all the model updates, right?
Yeah, mostly there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that
fellas, let's take a step on the wild side. Let's let's talk about the Horde base.
Go on.
I'm trying to phrase this
Speak your
correctly.
truth.
The only thing wrong with the base Horde races is Goblin. That's it.
That's not a base race though.
Well,
That's
I'm
Cataclysm.
talking like
Sure.
base like retail.
Oh, like
not
Base.
non-allied.
Not
Not
allied.
not
okay.
allied races.
Yeah, goblins like they make sense, but
Yeah, they
Because
upset
they
me.
just- They're unbearable, almost.
Well, it feels like a
Like-
retcon because all of those goblin cities were neutral or contested, like in Daenerys and
I
everything.
forgot about that.
So like you grow up, I mean, for people my age, I guess you grow up being like, all right, goblins are neutral, like everyone's kind of on a tenuous friendship with the goblins because they just care about money and they'll do whatever. But then it's like, oh, they're a horde now. It's kind of like, I don't know, it just
Sure.
feels
I guess it-
disingenuous, like in a storytelling kind of way.
well, but the thing is like what's the context? Like there could have been a reason for them to join like the Horde because it's kind
Yeah.
of like how Tauren were like they were pretty like on good terms with everyone, but then because of circumstances they joined the Horde, if I'm recalling that correctly.
Right. And the Goblin one is like the goblins are like part of the Horde, but they're also kind of not because it's only what do you call them? Oh God, what's his name? Gallywix? Is that the gigantic trade prince? Yeah, that's what it is. It's like him and his like followers. It's not like racially all goblins because there's in the actual lore and like in going ons there's tons and tons and tons of goblin like cartels that are not interested in it. And so Gallywix is like chaotic neutral at this point.
Yeah.
And most
Well,
of the
it's kinda
goblins
like
are.
the trolls too. It was like specifically the dark spear, but we're not gonna
Right.
have
right.
the race labeled as dark spear troll.
Right. So yeah, but Goblin for me, the actual models, the like tiny thing for me, I don't. Okay, now I just remembered this. If anyone here hasn't looked at a female gnome recently and the updated face models, go ahead and do that, and then comment on this because it's an absolute fucking nightmare. And that was something I forgot to say. Easily the worst looking face model of any character of anything in WoW. Yeah, like it's super bad. I don't know if any of you guys have looked recently, but it's like something's wrong.
Not crazy about
Something's not correct. But goblins for me are just like, I understand they exist in the lore, but I just when I see one I get angry.
Sure.
It's something about the small races. I don't know.
They're just so goofy. I mean, it's silly to say goofy because I feel like they've had their fair share of seriousness and stuff.
Sure.
But just something about them just seems so, and it shouldn't seem out of place when we have giant cowmen walking around shooting guns or casting spells, or like a giant panda or something coming around as well. But it's just I don't know. It's like whether it's like they're annoying. They always seem to have this like either joking attitude or just smirky attitude. They just want to hit them in the nose and stuff. Like especially goblins. Like they have that like snarky like I am money, I want money, and you just fucking
gambling, tinkering, laundry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that too. The accent is like
the like Brooklyn accent.
Yeah, like hey, hey.
Yeah.
That's something that I really don't like because you look at Alliance and kind of gnomes are a little bit like that, and with Horde, like the trolls are kind of like with a Rasta voice. I hate that. Like that takes me out of the game every moment. Like Vol'jin and they're cool and everything, but it takes me out every single time. I just feel like I'm listening to Ocean Man every time. Like I cannot take it seriously.
I don't know.
And then
I'm a fan of the trolls.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that's one of the better ones in Warcraft.
I don't know. For me, it just feels like I don't know. I really can't get into the whole troll like, and then all their voice lines are typed out with like diss and all this stuff like that. Like I really have a hard time getting into that. It just seems, I don't know. It really rubs me the wrong way. Both factions have that. Both factions have that for sure.
I think if they didn't have that, the game would be a lot more like. I think that makes the game believable and dynamic. Like if everyone talked like common speak, like all the orcs do. Like I think that would be like an enormous disservice to creating the world. Like I think it's great that the trolls have this like Afro-Caribbean accent, and then like the Tauren have like a different accent. I think it really separates races and cultures in a really effective way. I don't see that one being that gimmicky.
It can be jarring hearing a real world accent mapped onto a non-human creature, like just like a monster, and being like, this.
I think
culture.
That's kind of where I'm at with it. Yeah. Well, maybe it's mostly because all right, I'm an anthropologist now. Maybe it's just because that accent in our real culture is kind of been made very whimsical. That I just think of like Who Let the Dogs Out. It's like
what?
I don't know. It takes
what?
me.
What did he mean?
It completely breaks immersion every single time for me. It doesn't really make me think of that, but it breaks the immersion for me every time. Like I do really highly value the concept of separating all the voices, but I completely agree with what Dylan just said. When it's like just blatantly pasted on, I don't love that. That being said, I don't really know how they could do it better.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, what's the because if everyone just talked like regular, like American English, like that would be way worse.
I think it would just be asking a lot if they had to make up accents, because it's like, how do you even do that?
Sure.
But at the same time, for me, like,
yeah.
Right, like although like I like Draenei and like the accents don't bother me, it is kind of weird of being the alien goat men have Russian accents, where it's like
Right,
it's really
right.
specific, and I'm just like, what?
Well,
Like,
I think, well, you make a great point. It's like the making one up would be insane. And you know, some of these have like existing accents just in like history. You know, like elves have traditionally had like some kind of like English accent or like you know,
more
something
proper,
something to that extent, and the Worgen have like kind of like a, what would you call it, like a Cockney accent kind of.
right.
And the dwarves obviously is a lot like how Tolkien wrote dwarves. So, you know, I think it's like a necessary evil. Same thing with like how the Zandalari have like African accents, right? Because they're not like Jamaican, because there is a difference between the Zandalari accent and the troll accent. And in my mind, I'm like, well, that's great. I think that would have been way worse if they would have been like, you know, shitty Rasta accent on, you know, the Temple of Gold island people, and then I don't know. I like the accents a lot. I think it gives the world a lot of depth. Because I think it'd be bad if there was like 7 races that are like, "Hello, how are you doing?"
Hello.
For the
Hello.
for the Horde.
Well,
For the Horde.
Yeah,
Well met.
Loktar Ogar.
Yeah, it definitely adds a bit more to it, I think.
I think so.
I didn't even realize just until you mentioned it that the Zendalaya have African accents compared to the Rasta.
Well, I don't know if it's African, but it's definitely not Jamaican. They have like a different inflection.
Think about it now, yeah. I think about it, it's definitely different.
a
I
good
just
point.
never realized it until then.
Yeah. Well, and it's subtle. That's what I mean. It's very good.
All right, fine. I changed my mind.
Yeah. Sorry. So, anyways,
it's still weird.
Guildies got me again.
It's not, like, I don't know. Like, it's
I think
not necessarily bad, but at the very least, it's kind of weird.
I think it's one of the more like defined like accents in like the whole universe, I guess. So it's like less, I don't know, it's less
Well,
jarring as you said, but
sometimes like it works because it's like for the Worgans it makes sense because it's like the very gothic setting for like Gilneas. So then
Right.
it's like, okay, yeah, they could be Cockney, that makes sense. But then it's like Draenei when it's like you have no
yeah, they're
cultural or visual
they're just
reference.
aliens.
It's just
Yeah.
right.
Mm.
It just randomly just chose Russian. Here we go. We
Well,
haven't
you
done
go,
this. We haven't done this real world culture yet. Like,
you go into the giant spaceship, it's just Soviet block buildings
Yeah.
all the way down.
Knowing, yeah.
they're just
Yeah.
flying the Kremlin
Yeah,
around.
yeah, the inside of the Exodar is just like a million gray cinder blocks.
Oh my
All the
God.
like crystals are replaced with Fabergé eggs.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh my God.
I feel like that's an event. I feel like that happened.
Babushka.
Okay. I also think, and
Since music is playing.
and since we're on the topic, I think that it also, we've talked a little bit many episodes ago about how I think WoW is in a place that it's really inclusive, and the diversity of races and like the cultures in it. Like I hate to sound like a liberal typing in lowercase, but I think it does a really good job of representing a lot of different cultures that you can relate to in a really tangible way, and I think it's accessible for a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people can also like identify with certain types of races. Like they can identify with the like honor obsessed orcs, or like the the fucking tree hugging night elf shitters, or I feel like there's a lot of that happens there, that it's easy for people to become like really attached and personalized with these characters and these races, which I think is what defines it against most other kinds of fantasy.
True. Very true.
Anyways, we should jettison the goblins
Yeah, we should
into the
put them
twisting
all on a
nether.
boat, send it out to sea with like 5 days of food. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, whatever comes back we'll take.
Whatever comes back, we'll shoot as it comes off the boat.
Yeah,
There
like,
we
oh,
go.
you're back, bang.
Now you're like,
So let's just start at the top, dude. Orcs are so clutch, bro.
I originally thought orcs were really, really stupid and dumb because they're just like the human equivalent of, but the Horde. It's the generic fantasy race. But I've really, I guess, more in like recent times, I've appreciated them a lot more. I think they've got a lot of better characters, so the race doesn't feel like as shitty, you know?
Well, they're basically the progenitor of. I mean, this whole story
True.
is about the orcs.
Yeah.
But you're right. They've had a ton of memorable characters that were orcish, and then Draenor also went through some of that. I think orc is super underrated.
It's like one of those races. I think that the more you look into, like, if you're coming into WoW, I guess for the first time, and if the more you look into orcs, I feel like the more you like them, just because of how much stuff they've gone through, and there's just so much story with them.
Sure.
And you being this orc part of this like race has gone through so many like trials and stuff. It feels like good to play an orc.
Yeah,
Plus,
absolutely.
they're like their race was like really fun. So.
Yeah, well, orc is pretty much best like race for like 8 classes on the Horde side.
Always good for PvP, pretty much.
Unbelievable for rogue, for shaman. They can't be priests, can they? I don't think so. They're best for hunters. They're best for warrior. I mean, seriously, orc is just like it.
It's
Same
really
thing
cool.
like the humans, like it was back in the day. It's like any class you can be as an orc. When you're playing PvP, just play orc.
Plus, orc transmogs are really cool. I think most of them work really well.
Yeah, absolutely. Some look kind of weird. Some of the shoulders are like oversized for them sometimes, or sometimes they're like floating on the shoulders and they're not like connected to it. That's a problem because some of them are like really bad, but
very true.
I think orcs are poggers. I also think, and we can mention it for a second, I like Magar orcs a lot too. I like the untainted orcs.
They're cool. I wish they were a bit
racials
more...
are bad, but
yeah, their racials are like some of the worst things I've ever seen.
They are maybe the worst in the game.
I like them. I don't think I like them as much as a traditional like green orc. I think, but what do I know?
We'll be back in 1 second, guys.
They added a lot of customization for them as well. Like there's a lot of new colors, and some of the colors are like there's like a white one now. Where they're like super pale green, and then there's like a really dark green, like almost bluish one. That's good. I'm glad they updated like a zillion beards and hairstyles and the tattoos and scars and paint stuff, dude.
You can really do some cool stuff with them.
Yeah, the war paint and tattoos.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw this. I mentioned this in the Shadowlands podcast in our very first one. There is over 3 trillion combinations that you can make with orcs now, with all their customization things.
That is like super insane.
It's pretty fucking wild. I think it's great. I think orcs, I don't know if they've needed an update for a long time, but I'm glad they're getting more love.
It's good that there's more customization options, because you think, not that they have to like mimic what all their competitors are doing, but like if you look at a lot of the other MMOs, WoW, like even after some of the updates, they were really lacking in like character customization for the longest time, and even now it's like not even caught up with the like other MMOs really. Like it doesn't even have to be a Black Desert or anything where that's like the game is the only good part of the game is the fucking character creator. But like it still even seems behind stuff like Guild Wars and Final Fantasy. Like there just wasn't a lot.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that kind of circles back to the point of like what makes WoW a successful, not just fantasy thing, but game, is that the races are so well defined. I think it really carried the game for a long time. Like you didn't have to make 7,000 different kinds of Tauren because you had a cow person, and then like the Asian, then like the Asian NBA guy, but he spoke with a Rasta accent, and then you had like gigantic power, like they were all, the races were just like so totally different that I don't think it needed it for a long time. I think it like defined itself. But yeah, I think going forward, and they've talked a lot about they want to do more customization. that like people.
Oh, it's cool.
It's like the number one thing in Shadowlands that everyone's like, yeah, we could do more of that. That'd be sweet. That was good.
Yeah, bro.
Undead.
Okay.
Eh.
I think it's one of the weaker races of the Horde, just because Undead is a pretty generic fantasy concept. I mean,
Well,
it's cool.
Well, the
but-
thing is, you don't always get to play as them either.
True.
Like,
That-
skeletons are in everything, but you don't get to
True.
play as them, and they aren't, like, given as much lore stuff
Yeah.
as they are. Though, at the same time, I feel like Undead really get the least lore treatment. Anything that has to do with them is just, what is Sylvanas doing? Because,
Right.
Yeah.
like, they don't do a lot on their own. And I really like Undead, but, like, at the same time, like aesthetically they're not great because like your spine sticks out of like every piece of armor.
Not
and then,
anymore. That was a
Okay,
customization.
did they
thing.
fix that?
Yes, that's
Okay.
uh,
because
I
that was
remember
the
that being
thing
a big
too.
thing.
And their hobbled walk, while like I kind of like it because it's like goofy and hey, it's an undead, but at the same time, it's just like it hurts my back looking at them sometimes.
right. Well,
True. Yeah.
I think they're great for like like rogue races or rogues or war, just like class fantasy. I think they fit really well for that. But yeah, like an undead warrior is like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like kind of weird.
But I think they look good. I think they're like
Yeah.
And they also gave like when I remember starting to play WoW, End of Wrath into Kata, I remember it being like genuinely like I rolled like an undead and I don't think I ever did anything with it. It was like an undead warlock. But I remember starting it. You start in Tirisfal Glades, right? Or the Ghostlands?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is in Tirisfal.
Tirisfal Glades.
A very dated zone, I should say.
Yes.
I like it, but maybe I just like spooky, scary cemeteries and shit.
Well-
There's this doesn't not derail too much, but there's a section in I think Tirisfal Glades where there's a part where you have to go in and kill a bunch of dwarven alliance members for some reason. But you go in, and I looked online about this because I was getting like my shit pumped. I was like, but like I was around the same level. I wasn't like underleveled at all. And I was getting my shit pumped real hard. And I looked online, I go to forums and stuff, and it's because all these enemies, they're all like elite level, but the game doesn't realize that or whatever. Like the game just says, hey, go kill them. And it's not a game. It's not a quest. It's like, oh, gather people and kill them. Just kill them by yourself. Even get given NPCs. But everyone, it seems that the enemies is just so because they're all labeled as elite. They'll just hit. They'll kill you in like 3 hits each.
Nice.
And it's never been patched. And
Yep,
it's like to this day, Shadowlands, it's still unpatched.
That sounds like them. For me, it gave the Horde like a really like dark side to it. I remember like rolling something in Tirisfal Glades, and I was like 12 at the time. I was like, no, this is spooky.
Oh wow, those 3 pixels have
Yeah.
showing ribs.
Damn.
This is metal or whatever you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Or whatever.
You can just create a character with no jaw, which is another thing.
Oh yeah. I mean that was
That's
pretty
so,
jarring.
That's I hate when that's so stupid when I see it.
Like I never do it, but it's still kind of like funny that you can do it.
I
It's
think
like-
it gives it.
Then you can still like talk.
Right.
Yeah, it's just your tongue like waving into it. It's like it's got physics and shit. It's,
Yeah. It's kind of gross.
That's what
So
makes it
goofy.
cool.
All right.
Okay,
fellas.
sorry.
Oh, welcome back.
Okay, return.
'Cause, let's move on to the Chadliest catch.
Oh yes.
oh, we got
Tauren.
Yo,
Baby,
yo.
listen. And here's the craziest thing about Tauren. What an insanely stupid idea.
I think
Yeah, I agree with Dylan. I think it's cool.
I love Tauren. I've got several Tauren Max. I'm just saying we picked a
Sure.
cow. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but
bro.
that's why we picked it. It's cool. It's
we needed more Minotaur representation. That's always just like a throwaway
exactly.
like boss or just like
That is
one
true.
Greek story. Like they don't like there's not like there's a lot of other fantasy shit that gets like orcs and elves and stuff, but then none of them really have minotaurs or anything like adjacent to them. So,
That's a great
I
point. I never
just
thought about that. It is an interesting take on
Mhm.
the Minotaur as well.
like it's not just like a deadly monster or whatever, like it belongs in a labyrinth. Like I like that it's the peaceful race, which like
it
I wouldn't
yeah.
necessarily call it ironic, but it's a better, more interesting take.
Well,
It's
their
it's a
current lot in life is ironic. Same with the orcs. It's like neither of them wanted all this shit. They just wanted to
True.
be, because the
True.
orcs started as what, shamans?
Well,
And the Taurens are druids.
there are druids that are, but the orcs. I don't think they
The
had
orcs were magic users at the beginning.
you.
Well,
Well,
like if we're talking before coming through the portal, I think they were just warlocks for their magic.
so they had
Okay.
no. So they had shamans, but shamans were like religious leaders for them.
They didn't
Okay.
have the elements, I think.
No, they did have the
Or
elements,
they
and then
did.
they lost it when they drank the fell blood. When they drank Manaroth's blood, the elements stopped responding to them. They got left on red by water.
Left on ghosted. Yeah.
And then they became warlocks when Gul'dan and Ner'zhul did the whole kit and caboodle. But most orcs were like warriors. There were not like several billion shamans.
Oh. I thought they were okay.
It was like hard to be a shaman. I don't know. I'm not.
It's hard out there for a shaman.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not a shaman. I just play one on TV. But yeah, the Tauren are a little bit more. I think there were a lot more druids. I think it was like a.
Moo.
Well,
True.
but then what about like the totem poles everywhere? That's what makes me think, because I think druids are definitely part of it, but at the same time, shamans, because
Yeah,
they're all about
they were also
totems, and then
shamanic.
they have-
Yeah, and
yeah.
the Earth.
I think it's
Mother.
just nature, period, or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like they still had the hunters and warriors, but
It's an amazing race. They've done a lot with the customization. The racials, I want it to be better. I just want.
War
Was it
Stomp
racials?
isn't bad. It's
No,
like the
War Stomp isn't.
yeah, the War Stomp. It's like the AOE stun, and then I don't know if they have any other
They have
crazy ones.
They have a stamina buff, which can be kind of significant.
Yeah,
They're
I want to
cons-
say they have a profession one, but I don't.
They have an
remember.
herbalism one as well.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
I mean, they're not bad, and they're like in the running for quite a few classes for like being a competitive choice. I just wish it wasn't dominated by orcs constantly. I think about this
Well,
sometimes.
and that's also for PvP, but like as far as like the PvE content, I think back in the day, Taurens would get chosen for tanks because they have like the higher
the stamina.
health.
Yeah.
But
Tauren.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Trolls.
I like trolls.
I
Trolls
don't
are really
play
cool.
them, but they're cool.
I like them a lot. I think they
It-
have.
It's a game of the orc thing. I think they've got some really cool characters and stuff, and they've got like a really cool history. So it's like putting yourself in the shoes of a troll, an upcoming troll in the big world. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think they have a great lore. They have a great like culture thing that's very very them, and you see it when you go throughout the world and you see Darkspear or Gurubashi or Armani. I think it's a great. I think it's like a staple WoW thing. I don't think WoW would be as good as it was today if the trolls weren't like not like overt with what they're trying to do, but I think how like almost kooky it is really lends a lot to it being great. And Vol'jin is a fantastic character.
True, very true. Virgin man.
And they added Sand Fury trolls. You can be a Sand Fury troll now. How cool is that?
Yeah.
And you can be a Gurubashi.
Can you?
Because there's a green skin now, right?
Oh yeah, true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. You can be other.
Be all kinds of trolls. You
True.
can be an internet troll too if you try hard enough. Troll face,
Nice.
by the way.
Nice. Bringing it home, man. Yeah.
What if we got a troll race, right? And they're like bright white,
Okay.
right? But when you select the shade, it's like suddenly you get like new customization options, and you can just make the mouth like really big.
This is real. Yeah, dude, and like
Just
when you
hilariously like caricature.
yeah, dude, when you like interrupt, it's just like 2D troll faces.
Like there's like an audio cue that's like it's just like trollolololol.
What if you could make your characters in WoW as insane looking as you could make them in Oblivion?
Just
Dude,
what if
I
they
would
had
lo-
Oblivion sliders. Just
would be-
stretch all the jaws and
That would make
I
WoW
would love to have a Tor in the head the size of like a whole dwarf. That would be amazing, dude.
just all the sliders all the way to the max.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I love making my transmogs even more undead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you think we got some fucking bad clipping problems now?
Oh, I gotta find that red guard that I made.
True.
It's my best work.
And then Blood Elves, I think the last one's worth talking about. I like Blood Elves. I think that elves in general are very important to any high fantasy, and I think they're done extremely well in WoW. Yeah. And I think that you being able to make a high elf now is also very cool. Which is just the blue eyes and darker skin. But
Elves are cool.
yeah, it's like a necessary evil. Like I know a lot of people are probably like, "Oh, I've seen elves in,
Like
Santa's workshop. This isn't new." Like
I'm not a fan of elves in general, but like blood elves I think have enough like flavor to them that they make them not like generic, just snobby magic users.
Yeah. Well, and they're maybe the most conflicted group in the game. I mean, there's so many characters within just their own faction that have all these different conflicting ideas, and they're just very like 3D characters. They have a lot of depth.
Yeah. I will say, if I give a shit about the like past lore of races, it's most likely to be the Blood Elves or the Night Elves. It just seems like more interesting, cool stuff has happened with them. I don't know. I like them a lot. I've played the most of Horde. I've played the most Blood Elves and Trolls.
Hell
As much
yeah.
as I was razzing Trolls, I do really like to play them.
Yeah, dude, Berserk is amazing. Yeah, dude, all the Blood Elves died in like one night, or in I guess the Scourge.
Yeah.
It's like 80% of the race.
Oh,
Crystal knocked for the Blood Elves.
Oh.
Bone
Let's edit
knock.
that out.
Yeah,
Bone
no,
blood knock.
no. I mean,
Night of
that's
broken mana crystals.
ooh. I like that their paladins. The like lore behind it is like while everyone else has got like reverence for the light, the Blood Elves seek to harness the light.
Yeah.
They want to like control it violently, which that's pretty sweet.
Chad.
Yeah, it's pretty alpha.
Raised by mana or
Yeah,
something.
I am dominating the light so hard my eyes are yellow. So I think we have a good look at both Horde and Alliance at this point. I know we kind of skipped over like human dwarves and gnomes, but it's like their race histories is like medieval history, and gnomes just changed like swords to like laser beams.
Wrenches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, wrenches and
Cogs and shit.
yeah, and change horses to like rickety steampunk cars.
Just robot horse.
Can't wait to
It's like
drown and know me to
steampunk,
sink.
it's Not as good.
Okay.
Steam hardcore.
And then obviously Pandaren are on the Horde, but
Listen, Pandaren Horde are more bearable than Alliance Horde.
That's
I mean,
true.
Alliance
Yeah, dude,
matters.
G Firepaw, what an absolute Chad. I bet he gets all the
Yeah.
panda pussy. What's your excuse?
What?
I don't know the. He's the Horde like Pandaren.
I know that, but panda
Uh,
pussy. Let's go back to that for a second.
Okay,
What?
okay. Now you know what. Let's back up a little farther. In fact, we're gonna talk about panda pussy. There is something wrong with the female Pandaren model.
Yeah, it's because they want to
It's
fuck him.
weird.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not just
Something
like
wrong,
you
it's
want to
like
have
eternity.
sex with it. It's just like it's got like that uncanny valley thing. Like it's
Well, it's like we talked about last time, how like it's like all the male models, there's like a lot of variants. Like they'll have like the arched backs for like the undead and the worgans. They'll have all these different posture things, but then the female models, they all like stand the same and they have the same kind of like, I don't know. Like there's something like weird about it. Like the female worgans aren't all like monstrous and hunched over like the males are.
yeah, they look like They look like golden retrievers. It's very
Exactly.
uncomfortable. Well, it's interesting. Night elves, Draenei, Orc, Troll, and Blood Elf females all have like the same player model.
Yeah.
Like they're extremely similar, which a lot of
Really,
people
really
like for
close,
mods, but they're just like upright humanoid things. I don't.
Yeah. Well,
Upright humanoids with a
honestly,
lean.
in the defense of the female Pandarans, I've got an article here from china.org.cn/English that says giant panda with deformed vagina gives birth. So
What?
Did
What?
you type panda pussy when he said?
well, I typed
God.
panda vagina, but I'm not a dog.
What's wrong with you?
I'm not a
dude?
vagrant.
Panda vagina. The authorities are like looking at you right now. It's like, what's this homie on? Like, what
Dude,
the hell?
Okay, there's a lot of articles about panda sex here. A lot
Stop.
more than I've got
Well,
the
yeah,
Guardian.
And,
Well,
and
I've
a
got
lot of
Live Times,
lists
I've
that
got
Sean is getting put
got-
on.
Yeah.
independent.co.uk. I've got Instagram. I've got
Well,
psychologytoday.com. All right,
it's
this is
well,
legit.
it's because pandas. They
ScienceDirect.com.
need pandas to do it because they're falling out of trees and killing themselves. They aren't doing anything, so they have to.
ScienceDirect.com. The normal vagina and urine bacterial microbiome in giant pandas. All right, I'm not alone here. Okay.
Hold on, fellas. Can I tell you
Oh,
guys?
I'm leaving this podcast. All right, I'm never coming on again.
Can I tell you fellas
Anyway.
a story?
Moving on.
When I was in college at my community college here, I once printed off 100 pictures of horse vaginas on a bet
What's wrong
to
with
impress
you?
a girl. Now hold on.
To impress a girl?
Well, I was like hanging out with a girl in like our library
See
there.
this
Hold
fucking-
on. You gotta let me finish the story.
No, I'm just curious about the verb impress.
I was hanging out with some super babe
Oh.
in the library, and we're sitting there at one of the computers, and I'm like, "Do you dare me to print like 100 horse vaginas?" And she's like, "No," and I'm like, "Okay, here we go."
So it wasn't a bet. It was a bet.
Is she a horse girl? She has to be a horse.
No, she thought it was insanely funny though. Like it worked. But I also got like suspended from the library for like a month. It was
Dude.
really bad. It
Yeah,
was.
that's insane.
They took it super serious. I thought it was like really funny.
Probably
Whoa.
killed the librarian when she like went to check.
Hey,
He's
dude, he was like my age. He was like 2 years older than me.
maybe
and
he got
was,
turned on. You never know.
It was like a. If you Google horse vagina, it's probably the first one
Well,
that came up.
The
Stop
worst part of that
fucking-
whole thing. The worst part of that whole thing is that you probably used about 20 to 25% of your allotted printer usage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
And
also
all
the
that,
problem. Yeah.
all that toner.
Dude, what if you were like unable to print like your final paper or some shit?
'Cause-
What if you got a bad grade because you ran out of?
Why couldn't you give me
Alright,
the paper, miss? There was so much horse pussy at the library. I couldn't
Yo,
print.
that's worse. When you
Just
say
you're on a
horse,
record, you're,
when you say horse
It's
pussy,
a
it doesn't make it better.
Yeah, well, you're the one that bring it up. So
Mm.
you're the one that bring
listen,
it up.
Sean mentioned panda. You said horse. There's a difference.
Speaking of pandas, besides neutral
world of
pandas, what do you guys think is, not including allied races, what do you think is the least played race and what is the most played? Because I have it in front of me.
Not
got it.
including
Not in-
allied races.
Not including allied race.
No.
Oh,
The least played I know
Um,
is, I think.
Female dwarf warrior.
Ooh,
You
that's
don't
a
have
good
to
one.
be that specific, but
That's
like
a
No, okay, yeah, no,
Yes.
that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
it just the race.
I'm gonna-
That's
Okay,
the stats I
okay.
have.
I'm gonna go with female goblin priest.
Not no gender.
he just didn't
No
listen
gender.
to it.
I did. He's got all the
Non-binary
data in
goblin.
front of him.
Not all the data.
Oh,
just the
Dylan, you
race.
found the wrong list.
Oh,
Got the wrong data.
God.
Yeah, Dylan, screw you for
Yeah,
trying to give us
listen,
more
you're getting
content on the
demoted from
podcast.
Dataman. You're no more.
You're failing this BuzzFeed quiz.
Okay.
Better fucking.
I bet it's goblin.
Not-
I bet it's goblin.
Okay,
I-
what do you guys think? For least played race, not including, we'll just say Pandarans, period.
Gnome. I think it's gnome. Gnome or goblin, but I'm going gnome.
Okay,
I want to say Drano.
for least played. Okay, so the
Okay.
least played besides Pandaran and the allied races is Goblin.
Nice.
No, well, that was a cop-out answer. So.
The bottom three, like the least played is Goblin, second is Dwarf, third is Gnome.
Really?
Yeah.
I
I
thought
feel-
Gnome would be so much higher because it's such a memey race.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Well, I think there's maybe just like a lot of legacy characters of people picking them for casters years ago.
True.
But that's the thing too of like why I'd expect there be more for Gnome than Goblin because it's like a base race and not a expansion one. So,
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
gonna
nature
affect
of it.
numbers, I guess, a lot. Yeah.
but what do you guys think is the number one?
Blood elf. You didn't even gotta
Human.
ask.
Sean?
Like orc?
The correct answer is Blood Elf
Oh,
And
Yeah.
has been for a
Yeah.
long time.
with a 17.9% of the population, or at least
Holy
level
shit.
120. But the global percentages are pretty close. And
Wow.
that's big because the second most is human with 13.1.
Yep.
wow. That's hard for
lot
a
of
giant
lot
right
of lot of females running around in WoW.
It's a lot of. There's actually it's funny you bring that. There's a Reddit post that had like a big data thing about like what is the most played class, race, and gender, and like male blood elves are like middle of the pack. It's like mostly female blood elves.
Ugh.
The current least played race and class is like a female Kultiran monk, which cannot
Man,
possibly
those
surprise
words
him.
just together are
Yeah.
like.
Big old fat titty monk.
You're not even talking about World of Warcraft at that point.
I am talking about World of
Cultians are
Warcraft.
terrible, by the way. Not to get too off track. I
Well,
think,
hold on,
like-
we're gonna get there. So let's finish up. I did finish it up, so I finished up. So let's talk about allied races now. There's a big debate here, and this is a really interesting point that I wanted to touch on, and this is also going to be me rebuking Alliance, and you don't even have to say Alliance players, just Redditors.
You gotta
Here
stop
we
attacking
go.
the Redditors, because every time you do, and every time you tell me when we're playing a game, hey, we should post on Reddit to get more publicity. I'm not doing that because
Okay, sorry, not Redditors, just WoW Alliance players who happen to post on Reddit.
Idiot.
Is that better?
okay.
Is that better?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I better see 3 posts, or I swear to God, I'm talking your pay.
What?
Here's the thing that bothers me about everyone, because the Alliance complained that they didn't get the allied races they want, that the Horde got better allied races. Here's the thing. We got almost identical version. Besides the Volpera, we got an elf swap, right? We got Void Elves on the Alliance. They always wanted Blood Elves. They've bitched about it forever and ever. They got a version of the Elves. I guess we got Night Elves. I don't think that was something people wanted, but, you know.
We got Nightborn.
Yeah, the Nightborn are cool.
Fuck you.
No, I'm just saying I don't think that's I can't think of a lot of people who were like, oh, I wish we had Night Elves on Horde, which is what it's supposed to be. I like them. I think they're good. I just don't think it was like I think they were like, we have to put Blood Elves on the Alliance. We have to do something for the Horde. And you have Lightforged Draenei, which is just like High Mountain Tauren. It's a reskin. Okay, which is fine. Okay, sure, that's fine. Then you have the Magar Orcs and the Dark Iron Dwarves, which both existing lore things and both also reskins of existing races. And then you have Kultirans and Zandalari Trolls, which is again reskins, albeit a little bit more than a reskin, but Kultirans are just, larger humans, and also what Jaina is.
Hard to believe,
and
by the way.
Fucking big old yam. And then Zandalari Trolls are obviously just a different version of Trolls. I think those first four are equal. I think Alliance players are like, oh, when are we going to get cow people? It's like, you're not. You are going to get a reskin of the character you already have.
People. You don't deserve cow people.
I think those are all reasonable. Go on.
So, fun fact, since I still have those stats up, the most played allied race is Void Elf.
Yep.
And the least played is High Mountain Tauren.
Yeah, High Mountain Tauren has got some bad fucking racials.
It's not even racials is the problem. It's the complete lack of class choice is insane.
Yeah, there's 4. You can be 4 classes.
There's 4.
Like original Tauren.
That is the least amount.
I think original Tauren only had 4.
That's what they're going. That's why they did it.
That's insane, though. It's like, and the trade-off is you get bigger, like.
Yeah, you get antler. You get
the moose antler.
You get a big old rack.
You get.
You do get to turn in. You get to turn into a moose in your travel form as a druid by mountain, but it's not worth it still.
The only.
Do you guys feel like?
What?
Oh,
go on.
Do you guys feel like, as 3 gentlemen who are much more qualified than me to answer this question, do you guys feel like allied races are like an Activision move?
I hope so. I love
Activision
them.
move?
I think they're the best.
I don't know.
Like
making more money.
Yeah, like get more.
I don't
players,
think so.
Get allied races.
I don't.
I'm not.
I think they're a really good.
In my mind.
They're a really good goal for players to set to keep playing.
Sure.
Reach,
I don't think that's.
Albeit.
Also.
Sorry.
I think we should nip part of this in the butt. They've been with Activision for longer than we think. They've been with Activision's parent company for a long time. It just got restructured that it was Activision Blizzard. No, not free, but just like that's a Reddit myth that's propagated that like Activision destroyed this game, and like the buyout happened in like 2008 or 9.
Happened. I think Wrath was the first X-Pack. It was either with.
Oh my
they
God, really?
did the merger thing or restructure whatever with the release of Wrath or during Wrath.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, let it be known for the record that my question was made in full ignorance of any of those facts. I had no idea about that.
Yeah. It's been a long time, and then they rebranded.
Wasn't it you that said Free Battlefront 2 was a Disney move? Who said that?
That was me.
Okay. That's honestly all I thought of. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. The only thing I will give to WoW players who happen to post on the WoW subreddit, is that if you compare Mechanome to Volpera, okay. Okay. I mean, it's literally what you've already got. As another reskin, and I guess they didn't want to reskin goblins, which thank Christ.
Why didn't they just call that? Didn't they come out at the same time?
Yes. Yep. They were 8.03.
Why don't they just call that? I know that this is not a hot take, but why don't they just call that Ratchet and Clank expansion?
Because I don't think they own the IP for that. I don't think.
Yeah, but isn't it just Ratchet and Clank, like Mechanomes and Volpera?
Yeah, it actually is. I never thought about that.
Ratchet and Clank, dude. Like I thought about that, and then I Googled it, and like everyone on the entire internet was making the same joke, and I was like, God damn it.
I'll give them the diaper gnomes thing. Diaper gnomes are pretty cringo.
Pretty cringy.
Volpera are great, by the way. I know everyone's like, oh, It's just a
Yiff.
fox mask that you can yiff with, and I'm like, okay, maybe. But they're pretty nifty, and they have pretty good lore. Kind of, ish. They're like chaotic evil ish, chaotic neutral. And they have like okay racials, kind of. They have like extra backpack slots, and you can do the camp thing that you can like Hearthstone back to anywhere in the world when you put
It's
a camp
pretty. It's
up.
pretty nifty.
I think it's cool. It's not that useful. I roll the Volpera. It's not as useful as you think it is, but you can put a little tent down. That's cute.
Like it's Animal Crossing. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah. I get to play the octopus from Animal Crossing. We don't have to go through every single allied race that we just mentioned, but for me, big standouts. I love Zandalari trolls. I think the Void Elves are interesting. It's weird that they did that because there's like not a ton in the lore. But you know, it's fine. I guess Lightforged Draenei, there's not that many either. But I think Kultiran, Dark Iron Dwarves, and Mechanomes are like epic resident sleeper, and like it. Stop playing humans, and you won't get 7-foot tall humans. That's it. Play. Why didn't they give you a good night elf one? Why were they like, oh, here's the. What if they gave them like those troll berserker things? You know, the gigantic ones. No, the like huge ones. They're like where they have like they're like 7 billion feet tall, and they've got like goofy running animation things. They should have done that.
Oh, Gurabashi, is that what it is?
No, they're like a different. I know what you're thinking of, the frost troll ones, but not even them. Just like the troll berserk. I don't know what they're called.
They're like really big.
Yeah, they're like comically large. That would have been sweet if they got them. But let's step away from the racism here, and let's talk about zones and cities. Because this is where I think there is maybe less heated debate. Here, I'm just going to come out and say it before Bear gets a chance to shit on it. Stormwind and Ironforge are so comfy.
I'll say true to half of that. I love Ironforge. I'm not crazy about Stormwind.
Yep. I'm attending Camp Dillon on this.
Oh, you guys don't like it? You don't think it's comfy?
I don't like it. Feels like I'm in a maze, like the building
Yep.
gets all walled off. Like I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me.
Now, there's not a major city that I really go, gee whiz, I'm happy to be here. But in Stormwind, I find myself like on the map screen, holding down both mouse buttons, just steering around on the bird's eye view.
Sure.
I don't want to do that.
That's fair.
I don't want to do that. That's kind of where I'm at. And I only really do that with Stormwind and like Vexadar.
Yeah, right.
Exodar is bad.
Yeah, well, Vexadar is
not a big fan.
You should just kick that whole thing into the ocean and forget about it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'll level my jewel crafting, but I don't want to be
there. Maybe go for Darnassus or whatever, the night elf place. Like,
I don't know
who
that
goes
either.
there? Like, I've been there like
so little, yeah.
Like a handful of times, like in my life, and I even played like a night elf character, and I never went there.
You just don't go there. Yeah, I'm not mad at Darnassus because I've been there 3 times in 15 years.
Right, like I don't really have an opinion on it except that.
Yeah, I'm more mad at like, what is it, like Ashenvale, or what's the one on the coast there on the west?
Oh, the little building, the tiny building with the bridge there.
Yeah, with like all the crabs on the fucking shore.
Dude. Fuck yeah. I think that is Ashenvale.
Ashenvale's by like Fellwood. Anyway,
or is it Darkshore?
It's Darkshore. It's Darkshore.
Yeah, because there's like a whole BG for it, Battle for Darkshore or whatever.
Oh, true. That's right.
It's shit.
I I like Stormwind just from the perspective of there's a lot in this game that they say is like a big city, but then it's only like 2 buildings, and I feel
It's
like
2 shacks and like a
Yeah.
cow pen.
yeah, and right, and so like
Like
Stormwind feels like an actual city, which I think is
I
cool
agree with
because
that.
True.
there's not a huge amount of that in WoW.
I like the separation, the gentrification of Stormwind.
Oh,
I'm a
oh,
let it be known that I'm a proponent of gentrification.
oh,
But I do
Jesus
like
fucking
There's one
Christ.
thing Sean loves, it's redlining.
yeah.
exactly. No, I do like I do like hanging around in like the Dwarven district or whatever and doing my mining and engineering and all that shit. That part is kind of cool. It's
Mm.
kind of cool to be there, but I do not like navigating it. That's the zoomed in version of where I'm at on Stormwind.
Agreed. Here's
And I hate where the flight master is. Go to hell. Okay, anyway.
the here's the other thing, fellas. Not the other thing, fellas, but when we talk about Horde, I feel like Horde kind of just like auto loses. Because Orgrimmar is not really very comfy and also not really
How dare
hold
you?
on. Hold on. Not really well put together. Like shit is just down this gigantic strip for no reason when it could be like
And it's everything is where you need it to be. How is it not
no,
good?
well, no, okay, yes, everything exists, so it's where I need it to be.
Unless you're a warlock.
Orgrimmar
Well,
is
if you're a warlock, you deserve to be friggin' thrown into a cave.
Touche.
Orgrimmar is comfy. It's a different kind of comfy. It's comfy. The issue is that I think it pales in comparison to the ultimate comfy. Which would anyone like to venture a guess to the ultimate comfy?
Is it
Is it-
Thunderbluff?
It's Thunderbluff.
Thunder Bluff.
It's Thunderbluff.
Yeah.
So I like Thunderbluff, but I hate
You gotta
the
watch 'em, yeah.
elevator. I
Well,
I don't like
yeah.
cities that are annoying to get into and out of. Like that's like a big hang up I have with Thunderbluff and Undercity. Like depending on the day, like I kind of like Undercity, like it's neat with all the like ooze and shit everywhere.
Void.
Right. So like I think it's neat, but like having to take like the stairs down or how I don't even remember how you get in there. It was always just kind of annoying.
It's
Same thing for
extremely-
Thunderbluff.
Yeah, but you can fly
Yeah.
with Thunderbluff. You can just like
I'll tell you.
Well, right. But like when you're
I'll tell you how I
leveling and
feel
shit.
about Thunderbluff once I wait 40 seconds for this elevator.
Right. And then like all the extra verticality to it too, like you have to go up those ramps and those towers all the time to get anywhere.
Let me
It's-
just
True for
cross
the
this
flight
bridge.
like it's aesthetically great. Navigating it, not comfy.
well, and it
Concept
also
of it is really cool. Like looking, it's
extremely.
a great. Like, it's thematically, it's a really cool place. But like, I don't want to cross like 3 really long bridges as like a level 10 dude.
It also has not everything you would want or need. Like it doesn't have all the trainers. It doesn't have portals. It doesn't have a transmogrifier.
Yeah, that portal thing is a problem. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like that I have to take a fucking Zeppelin to get to to get back from Thunderbluff.
Yeah, dude,
Like-
the elevator and the Zeppelin and the bridges. It's
There's
like,
no
all right,
auction house either. I
level
don't
6
think.
Tauren, who are
Now-
slow as hell to run with.
Now that's a problem in general that I maybe is another discussion, but the fact that I can't. When's the last time there was another auction house? I can think of the one in Orgrimmar, the one in Stormwind. Is there one in Ironforge?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure there.
I
was
think
auction
all
house?
faction capitals have an auction house, or at least most of them do.
Well,
but-
it's like 2 out of the 4 in each side. I think have them. I don't remember.
yeah,
Doesn't sorry to go off, but
Yeah.
doesn't that one place for the WAD, like that island that you'd go to, that everyone would hang out, that was like kind of a capital city?
Warspear in
think
Ashran.
that's what it-
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
what it was. I think that had an auction house.
Does
but I
it?
don't remember. I don't know.
good thing we're playing. Good thing WOD's the current expansion.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Well, isn't there like a Pandaland like major city that nobody goes to anymore? Shrine of 7 Stars or 2 Moons.
There were
And Warspear is the place I was thinking of.
Oh, there is one in Mulgore. It's on the lower right. Really?
There's a lot of like just hidden shit. It's just too hard to find though. So
That's the other thing. Is there's
Thunderbluff is the Darnassus of the Horde.
True.
Oh,
As far as like
Except there's
usage,
not
yeah,
night elf prostitutes everywhere trying to steal your gold. So
true. I mean,
Well,
I'm in
that's
favor
pretty
of
true.
that, though. You know, I'm looking for a good time.
yeah, I'm looking to jack my turret.
well, there's a woman upstairs that apparently just is open.
She's single now. Ah,
Gee, anyways,
What we got?
Undercity's bad.
Undercity's terrible.
I don't.
It's like
It was like cool the first time I went there, but like now it's plagued with issues. Like if you enter it wrong, you get kicked out because it's like not instanced correctly, or there's just certain
They should
like
just
the
nuke
sewers you
Undercity.
can't pass into. You have to go down the stairs. You can't pass into the gaping hole.
dude.
Yeah,
Now
that's
that there's that massive like AOE, I was like talking to you while I was doing this one.
Yeah,
I resubbed and didn't know that was going on, so I tried to go there the way that I expected I was gonna get there, and like had to like just die and respawn like 20 times because I went really far into that stupid green AOE, and I was just like, all right, like World of Warcraft is not fun right now at all, and it took me like 20 minutes. It's like, all right, like cool game that I'm paying for, and it was my mistake. I should have known, but oh, I hated that.
yeah,
that's fine.
It's,
Undercity's a trash place. So.
it's not good.
I like it when
Lordaeron.
I'm there, but even
Yeah.
getting there before that fucking sucked. It's such a pain in the ass if you don't have a portal.
Right.
always having to take the Zeppelin to it from
Oh,
Orgrimmar
God,
or
yeah.
whatever. Like just that
thing-
whole thing, that and the boats on the Alliance side, like
Yeah.
not great.
So,
And I
yeah.
think the thing that was what makes the capital city good is just how easy it is to navigate. That's why I almost want to say Ironforge is my favorite, because there's
Sure.
no verticality to it. It's all one floor, and it's pretty like it's just sectioned off as just a circle, and like in the different quadrants, kind of like Undercity but better.
Right.
I was just thinking that it's kind of like Undercity, except it's a little bit less of a pain in the ass to access.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, they're really well built in kind of like a thematic way. If you didn't have to go there all the time, but for people like us who have had to go there, not just us, but millions of people at this point that have had to go there like a lot of times, especially back in the day when you had to go there every other level to hit a trainer and fucking get your new skills and your skills for your pet if that was applicable. The arduous process to get there every single time really quickly became a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Which also reminds me of like Blackrock Depths, when you have to like, if you're trying to level and it's like, oh great, I have to like run across this 1,000-yard long giant chain again and like talk to this guy when I'm dead and all this stuff. It's like, it's really, really cool until you have to do it more than one time. So in a RPG, it would be excellent, and I don't think anyone would be complaining. It'd be really, really cool. But once you have to do it like a lot of times, it kind of sucks. And it's like, I don't know if that's my fault, or I don't know if that's WoW's fault, or I don't know if that's just like part of it. But it's like, what, make a less interesting game because we have to do the same stuff a million times? I don't know. It's kind of a
Right.
middle ground.
Double-edged katana. I think we can safely say this. Maybe base game Alliance wins. Maybe they lose.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Alliance definitely wins in BFA. I know you fellas weren't there for most of
Hold
BFA.
on. Okay, hold on. Hold
No, you hold on, son.
No. You are not gonna say Koltira's Fartland is better than Zoldazar. Okay?
No. Hold on. As someone who played every day for like the last 2 years, Zoldazar,
Sure.
the city thereof, is the most inconvenient WoW city I have ever.
The most efficient city.
Oh my God. It's insane. The place that you can like put your inn at is at the top of a gigantic pyramid that you have to
Yeah.
pay to get down to the rest of the class trainers and mogs.
When have you ever gone to the class trainer?
Yeah,
in
but the
BFA?
mogs are down there, and also your fucking war table
You
that you
don't-
have to do.
You can this is where you're wrong because you can move the war table up to the freaking pyramid.
You can, but you have to still do all your expedition stuff down there. You had the warfront
Who
stuff
does
down there.
expedition?
Nah,
Two
come
people
on.
do war fronts.
Nah, come on. Nah, come on. The
No, I think
the
you're
guy
just
who
wrong.
only does PvE content is like, oh, who does? Who did the fucking
I did
PvE
expedition,
content?
whatever. I think Zoldathar is fine. I think it is absolutely fine. The zone, it can be here and there, but I think the city is fine. So.
Well, listen, people who have actually, because Sean and Dylan have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about, but it is
Oh yeah, I forgot.
insanely
These two haven't
inconvenient.
really.
Borealis, I think, is very boring, and Tiergard Sound is extremely boring, just like Drustvar is extremely boring. But at least everything was like in one spot. I liked that. Zuldazar was just like, and then there's like the other temple that you didn't even use, but like you had like quests to go over there, so you couldn't fly there, so you had to be like walk down the pyramid, across the bridge, up the other pyramid.
Yeah, okay, liberal. I don't want to hear this right now.
I will say that with all of the daily stuff and all of the like zoomed in zones with all that stuff, I kind of had that feeling of when you start to play a really developed game that's so far past like being friendly to new players that you just have absolutely no clue what to do. And I really didn't like having that feeling from WoW as a returning player. Maybe that's just me being stupid, but like I really didn't. It was like you can do this, or 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 you can do this, and you have no idea what's the best thing to do, or like what's meta, or like what's going to get you the best rewards, or what's a waste of your time, or what's a good use of your time. Like I really didn't like all of that stuff.
BFA was fraught with that, and that's.
That being said, it just took me like a couple brain cells to figure it out. Like a couple. You just read some stuff or watch a video,
right?
But it felt bad. It felt bad.
Well, I think even for someone like me who was playing, I mean, pretty much up to the BFA release, like it had all these like horrible intricacies that like was like, this is an inconvenience, and then they're like, well, here's another inconvenience on it, and they're like, well, here's another inconvenience on it, and like by the end, by like 8.03, you're like, wow, this is unbelievably inconvenient. If you want to roll an alt, you have got, I mean, seriously, like the end game content to get to like a good gear spot was like a crazy amount of time and a crazy amount of grinding and a crazy amount of like RNG drops, which I think is what made BFA like such a like controversial.
Well, yeah, because you have all your stuff that I was just complaining about, and then it's like, okay, well, do you want to do the horrific visions, and do you want to go to the fucking ancient Egypt place and do all that? What the hell am I supposed to be doing? Like, what am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
Gotta get your cape, and you gotta do this.
Yeah, get the cape, and then you
gotta
gotta
the fucking cape.
Yeah, then
and
you gotta do your dailies on.
What I do. Yeah.
Talk about taking away 2 spots of like gear for a player because you have to use these things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. The necklace and the cape.
Because it was like, even if you did not have the cape, you were just like burdening yourself with more like problems.
Me personally, I was down with the necklace, but the cape was weird, and all of the like managing all of the like Path of Exile stuff of that, all the stuff that was in WoW, all of a sudden that was reminding me of Path of Exile. I was like, I don't know how to juggle any of this, and I don't know how to juggle it in Path of Exile. I don't know. It's just like for someone like me personally who doesn't really have, it's not my full hobby. It was tough to really have as great of a time as I used to because there were so many different conflicting like weird things, and then I had to manage my ads right, and I just all kinds of stuff. It's like, dude, I want to do fewer Google searches and like play the game.
Yeah, it got way out of hand.
Play my class, please.
I
don't know. It's still a fun game, but
Yeah, it was a bad spot. But yeah, the Borealis thing, I liked everything being in the same spot. But Alliance definitely got worse zones. But let's touch on some zones really quick. What are your
Zone.
fellas' favorite?
Zoning ordinance.
Yeah, what are your fellas' favorite Horde and Alliance zones? What do you guys think? Let you guys lead this one.
Is there any criteria here? Just leveling or starting? Or...
Anything.
Starting.
Basically, yeah, starting zones or even just like
Mimir
faction
Zone.
controlled
What's
zone.
it called? I'm very bad with names. The
Mulgore?
Mimir Zone.
Mulgore?
Mulgore. I really like Mulgore. It's just flat plains. There's a few verticalities you have to deal with, but like for the most part, it's very just flat. So and plus the zone I think is really cool. Just like it's very just grassy green plains with like animals and shit.
It's comfy.
It's cozy.
I never loved that because I was always a Tauren there, and I just, oh, excuse me, I really felt victim to the, like, Tauren feels slow to run with, so I always kind of was like impatient to get out of there. I did like the Orc kind of like desert zone because it was really enclosed, and that cave was nice and accessible. And I really liked the
linear.
Blood Elf zone because it just felt like more. It just felt more interesting.
The which one?
I think
The
Blood
Blood
Elf
Elf.
one.
Oh, okay.
that one is my favorite ever
Eversong
song.
Woods.
You
I'm
go
not a
to-
fan of this
And
song.
you go to Ghostlands, and Ghostlands is so cool. It's just, I don't know. I always liked it way, way, way more. The Blood Elf leveling experience. I don't know. That's me.
I think on Alliance though, I would probably say only have done it a few times, but like Worgen, I guess, just because it
The
has
Glenace
the
one.
gothic
Yeah,
stuff.
I like
I
Morgan.
haven't even
Yeah.
done it.
But I almost want to say human just because I know it so well that I can speed run it compared to the others where like I barely know them. So it's like, okay, yes, go here, take candle,
Yeah.
leave.
Well,
Like,
yes, take Kindle. Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, that's the huge advantage, though. If you can really blast through that beginning area, you're going to love it because it's like, I'm subverting the way the game is supposed to be played, and making up a ton of time.
yeah, I would like Mulgore more, but I have trauma from back in the day before they reworked all the starting zones in Cataclysm, because
Oh,
the
yeah,
drop
that's right.
rates were abysmal, and also it was at that point in time in WoW's history where quest items weren't always highlighted like items, so you had to pay attention to what you're picking up, and
Yep.
the drop rates are bad. So when you're doing that with a friend, and you have to sit there and kill harpies for the rest of your life trying to get the
Yeah, for
stupid
your life
talons or
sentence.
whatever. It just took
Oh, God.
forever just killing them
Yeah.
constantly, not getting the drops or it not
The
highlighting
dream.
them. It's just
Dude, I forgot about that. When it's just like a white item.
yeah, it
Oh,
wasn't
Lord.
good. I know remember
That's like
I think
That's like
Ghostlands had a bunch
roguelike almost.
right. I think Ghostlands I remember had a bunch of those too, of like not
Mhm.
highlighted bad drops.
Mhm. I loved Ghostlands because it felt really diverse. I don't know.
Yeah.
What about you, Hayden? What's your favorite?
There's a few. I like Eversong Woods, and kind of like Sean saying, like it dumps you out into like pretty much only contested territory
Kentucky.
because it's Ghostlands right there, and then Tears Fall Glades is right there.
Sorry.
Yeah. The Demon Land, Kentucky. Ghostlands is
True.
right there. Tears Fall Glades is right there, and then you have Hillsbrad Hills, which is right there,
Ooh.
and then both Plaguelands are right there. So you're really thrown into the world like hard.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never really thought of that.
Damn.
What Eastern Kingdom's so stupid.
Like Human
man.
Zone is like, okay, here is the woods, and now here's the woods, except it's
Yeah.
fall and
The
there are
spooky
farms.
woods.
And then
Yeah.
yeah, the
Here's the
farmland.
purple woods.
Because like, I do like the undead one because it's spooky. I mean, if you really look at it, it's just the forest, but at night. But then
Right.
they
There's a
have
bunch
the
of
extra, like-
graveyards everywhere.
right? They have the grave.
God, but after this, what's the spooky woods place? Probably Dark something. It's like right by Elwyn Forest. It's like level 30. Oh shit. I don't know. But after you go there, and there's one of the Dragon World bosses. After you go that, you just go to like the Hinterlands, which is just the woods again. Ugh. And then you go to Fellwood.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Dude, I like Fellwood. Fellwood's good.
Felwood.
some good.
Felwood's
There's like a
kinda-
part where you have to go up some mountains to get, like the demon camps and stuff, which suck dick. But like I liked walking around Felwood. It was
You
cool.
did a ton of old warlock stuff in Felwood, so I
I
like
believe
doing
it.
that. I have nostalgia for Felwood for sure.
What the fuck was that?
Sorry, trying to look at the map.
What a
right now.
groovy entered the chat.
Oh,
What, you gonna play the witch's tit?
I think Dylan. So apparently, this is coming to you live. Everyone, listen. 4 reviews.
Oh my god.
But our friend Dylan here, Armadillo, the guy with the weird profile picture, his cat has turned off his router and his computer.
What a
So-
Chad.
Cat moment.
So in other
Um,
words,
Feline
no
moment.
more Dylan. Feline moment.
He's passed away. He's passed on to the next episode.
I killed a lot of dwarves and night elves in Stranglethorn Vale. Used to just like hang out there just to fucking shit in people.
Yeah. I got ganked a lot there. I got
shitting in
killed
people.
there.
Yeah, that's where real men die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's where real 14-year-olds die.
Yeah,
and get
fuck,
really
fuck,
mad.
Nam. You're talking about
The only real memory I have of that place is when we went gorilla hunting with Hayden. So
that was a good day.
Dude, I got ganked there so many times that I like was mad in my actual personal life, like about the Horde when I was playing my gnome. When I was like 14, 15, dude, I was so pissed off.
Dude.
Oh
what
god, I
love
forgot
to
about
see
that
it.
shit. I quested there for so long because I just kept getting killed on Blood Scalp, and it was
that's
like
what you
a
get.
crazy PvP server, dude. But all my buddies were playing on it, and all their like older brothers were playing on it and were really good. So we played and just got ruined. It was so funny.
Um,
So you can play the gnome.
All my post rock buddies.
nah, yeah.
Post rock buddy. Such a
The
boomer show.
that's okay. We'll leave that one. Yeah, but Stranglethorn Vale, super comfy. I like the troll starting zone. I know the Echo Isles may
I
be
do.
like kind of boring
It's-
for everybody, but
The island, there's a lot of parts where you're just kind of running. Like there's like that long bridge part, which I think it's kind of
oh, hell
dumb,
yeah,
and you
baby.
gotta change the like tigers, and you gotta jump across to the other island, and like whistle for a bunch of baby tigers or some shit.
You gotta ride the really slow mount.
Yeah, it's like there's some stuff like that, which is like.
Oh yeah,
But
right.
I think Echo Isles is pretty cool. I think for the most part, most starting zones I don't really have a big problem.
Yeah, here I guess.
Except for Dreno.
Echo Isles is
Ooh.
so handholdy though. You gotta grab the freaking mount and it runs you to the
Well,
other place. It's just like
I get.
Ugh, so
It does very
slow.
much seem like an ultra new player is playing for the first time, and it does feel like that a lot. But
Dude, remember like when you finish the Echo Isles and then you just have to like auto run for like 9 minutes to get to the like Razor Hill.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Yeah, because you're supposed to
That's
go.
the
Yeah.
fucking- That's the worst, man.
yeah,
Like,
because weren't
don't
troll
make me do that.
the troll starting zone was literally like at the. Oh, he's back.
Hey,
Hey. Or maybe
Well,
not.
fuck you too, Mr.
Yeah.
Silent Man.
tough crowd.
Yee.
Top.
us.
But yeah, weren't the troll starting zone was in the where was the orc spawned essentially.
Well,
wasn't-
yeah, Senjin Village was right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Senjin Village. Then you
That
have
whole
to run
zone-
from that to Razor Hill, and it takes so
Yeah.
long.
That whole zone, I forgot what's it called? The
Duratar.
whole that Duratar. I really like Duratar until you get to Razor Hill and you have to scout the areas and go help out people. That whole like stretch,
Dude.
I think is really good because it's linear and the goals are like it takes you from one place. So you do this here and then you're done with it and then you go to Senjin Village after the first like camp area. You do Senjin Village things and you keep moving on. I think it's really well because it eventually leads you to Razor Hill.
Razor Hill is so weird though because you have to go like all the way one direction to that like castle of all the humans, and then you have to go through the like do all that
Oh,
stupid
right.
shit with the harpies. And I always get lost trying to find the stupid quest items for the harpies. I hate that shit so much.
I can believe Sean getting lost
always
in like,
fucks with me.
farming zone.
Okay.
Here,
Okay.
here, we can do
Okay.
a never have I ever.
What?
Oh, it is.
You guys ready for it? Never have I ever done the goblin starting zone.
I have done
I've done it.
Oh my
once or
god!
Kraz works.
Oh my
It is-
God.
It was fun, but
Look,
I wouldn't want to
It's
do it again.
goofy and stupid.
Yeah, I liked it because it was goofy and like it seemed,
It,
Yeah,
like,
they blow up their home.
yeah, based.
Let me-
I've
Let
never
me
finished
play-
the Zarning Zone, I should say. I've
Oh,
done
sorry.
it.
Yeah,
but I
sorry.
haven't finished it.
Spoilers, buddy.
Let me go
I-
back to
No,
what
no,
the controls, though.
I finished it.
You
Right.
get to drive a car, which is pretty cool, I guess. But
Yeah, I don't get to do that in real life.
The
Well,
thing with the goblins, though, is I feel like it's almost kind of like where I'm at with the trolls a little bit. Is like I feel like they're really inconsistent with whether they want to be funny and whimsical or serious. It just kind of is weird because it's like a bunch of the races and a bunch of the lore is really serious, but then all of a sudden they're like, the goblins have a fucking Brooklyn accent. It just seems like really randomly
Comic
like,
relief race.
ooh, a funny game
I think
in the middle of a serious game. I don't know. It's
I think
like,
the
it
goblins are
just
the
feels weird to me.
I think the goblins are the worst version of that. The trolls, I think it's supposed to be like a
Well, the trolls
almost
aren't
like a-
trying to be funny.
right,
The trolls-
yeah.
It's not a comedy thing, but I still feel like it's a little bit. It's just really on the nose with the
Yeah.
trolls. But for the goblins, it's like one. I don't think the jokes are funny because it's like, overdone New Yorker thing. It's
Yeah.
like just it can't be funny to me. But also, it's like, okay, do you want to be like a funny game or do you want to not?
But then,
Like,
but
are you- do you-
goblins are also like these grody creatures. So like, there's I guess.
Yeah, have you ever been to New York? They're a
Yeah.
pretty good representation of New Yorkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just feel like it's too, like, they're like, oh, I guess I lost 50 workers. Oh, who cares? Because I got some gold, and you're in the Barrens, and it's like, okay, like, that's just it's just too ridiculous.
Well, that's the thing.
If it was a little bit like, if they just like really liked money and were like pretty callous, it's okay. But it just seems like so ridiculously over the top with the goblins. I don't know. I don't love it.
That's an issue that WoW has, and like a lot of fantasy stuff kind of falls into this trap of like, if you create like a race of people or like a fantasy race, they're all like a monolithic one type of personality.
Yes.
And then it's like
yes.
anytime they have one base personality and then they have the inverse that it's like, whoa, that subverted my expectations. It's like, because that's the thing, like I love orcs, but it's
Exactly.
the thing that orcs and like Klingons and stuff, like their issue, like the warrior race is like really bad because it's all kind of the
They're, like,
same.
addicted to their prime directive. Yeah.
Right. Like they all act the same and then it's like, whoa, Worf, he's intelligent and he doesn't want to fight? That's so different from a Klingon. It's
Yeah.
like
What an incredibly deep character.
it's like, whoa, Thrall, he's a shaman? He's about the spirits? He doesn't want to fight people and doesn't crave blood and honor? Wow.
Blood
It's
and
like it's
Yeah,
like,
but
or
you-
it kind of does like it's the same thing of always just like what if there was a gnome warrior and it's like, whoa, the
Dude,
subversion.
it's literally like I'm not like other girls, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's
like not Thrall's shtick,
like
though.
Well, it's not, but I think it's like a thing that a lot of it falls into is that they all have like a monolithic like identity
Right.
half the time.
There's a pretty major tokenism that they seem to be really leaning into for every race.
Yeah. Like
True.
It's like every troll goes, "Hey man," like, all right, I'm just not into
Hey,
it.
man.
Well, and I think the other issue is that I think part of what we're viewing this through the lens of is like a very cursory glance at it. because there is quite a bit in like extended lore that talks that gives a lot of it depth. That like, yeah, if like you go to the Echo Isles and you do like the starting zone quest, like they're like lame. But like I think one of the really interesting ones is that there's a fairly large subsection of trolls that live in Thunderbluff, and they call them Blue Tauren. They mention it in War Crimes too.
Ooh.
I don't. I think there's a lot more to it than that.
Would you place yourself in the minority of people as informed as you are about the deep lore, though?
I would say I put myself in the minority of people who have actually probably consumed deep lore. There's a lot of people who have probably
Not really trying to prove my own point there, but just curious.
no. You're fine. We're gonna talk about Redditors who happen to play Alliance, who also post in the
Oh,
Lost
thank
Reddit.
God.
I think there's a lot of people who are regurgitating opinions that have existed since like Wrath, where like a common theme in the subreddit is like, WoW story is bad, and it's like, I mean,
It is a very brought up discussion, I feel, on the Reddit at least.
yeah, but like all their points are like Sylvanas did bad stuff and so did Garish, and you're like, oh, you're right.
It's almost like a copy pasta.
Two people
the
were
amount of
Yeah,
times
exactly.
bring up
It's like a copy
same exact-
pasta. Yeah.
It's this character is just doing bad things like this character, and then they just fill out the names. Like
Exactly, and that's what I mean when I say like I think Warcraft has a great lore. I think they've done a great job. I think Christy Golden and all the writers they're great.
Yeah, I don't even really disagree with that. I feel like it's just in the game the way they fill in the cracks with like all the inconsequential characters are just like they just make them the same people as like Vol'jin. It's like
Right.
all the trolls are Vol'jin except Vol'jin has the cool script.
True. And
He has a
bad.
name. He
That's
isn't
kinda
just
where
a
I'm
dark
at
spear
with it.
troll.
Well, and
yeah,
also
exactly.
I think you'd be doing
Vol'jin
your
is like, I get the cool lines, Mon.
yeah.
Like, all right.
I think you'd also be doing the game a complete disservice if the game that you have to grind for several tens of hours to get to end game content had like lore also buried in that mindless grind, like as part.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that would be how do you do that? How do you
I
make
think
someone
part
care?
of it too
I d-
is it just like the stories like that are so like lore obsessed, or like there's just a lot, or like things that just like go on for too long and the story just kind of collapses under its own weight. Like that's the thing, like I've never watched the show, but like Supernatural, it's like how many versions of Super Satan can you kill before
Yeah.
you have to keep going.
Satan.
Like wow, the
Satan.
game's still going, we have to make more story content. How like we've killed the gods, but what are above gods, and like what, like you just kind of have to, like it just gets goofy. Like same shit for like Dragon Ball too, and it's like
I'll show
the
you what
powers-
above gods.
it just gets like bonkers, and like I don't know
Yeah.
what you would really expect after a certain point.
Yeah, Dylan, that's actually a really great point. Instead of the plot constantly expanding and expanding and expanding via all of the exposition, it's like exposition in between the main events. It's just like the middle stuff is just kind of filling in the cracks. I like the idea of the leveling experience not being, every new level, it's not like this is the new greatest threat.
Right.
The leveling experience is always kind of like extra little stuff. You never really feel like it's that consequential, which could be good or bad, I guess, until you really get to the raids. And the raids are the plot of Warcraft, as
Right.
it's evolving.
Sure.
I do like that, instead of like, you're in, this is dated, I guess, but you're in Sunken Temple, and that's like the toughest thing in the world, or
Right.
and then you're in, Burning Crusade, and now that's the craziest thing, and now you're in like, Serpent Shrine Cavern, and now that's the craziest thing. Like, I like that they
Yike.
don't do that.
Where do you go after killing eldritch deities in the first?
Look at that
like,
thing.
yeah,
Look at that thing
exactly.
I posted though, because that explains the because like we talk about eldritch deities.
Oh
as
yeah, I
like
like
a,
this thing.
Yeah. This explains the lore really well. Where like the word God is like a misnomer in.
Well, right. Like, because there's gods, and like even in Greek myth, there's titans above them and everything. But
Yeah. I agree. I think they'll probably pull it back, and or I think 8 point or 9.2 is gonna be like the Grim Totem have jacked off on all the elves and Azeroth, and now
It would
we
be
have to fight them.
kind of nice, and this is just my opinion, I guess, but it would be nice to like tone it down a lot more. Like obviously next expansion maybe, or like whatever, just something.
Tone what?
Just make just the story and where it's like gone. Like I don't know. Like I think it's just a bit overwhelming that we went from Battle for Azeroth to then suddenly now we're fighting an old guard. Now we're in this whole
Now we're in the afterlife, I guess.
and now you're gonna kill the person that's killing people in the afterlife. It's like
Yeah.
I'd rather it just be toned down a bit. And I know
was
it's WoW
thinking-
and it's just like a big thing, but
Well,
I
yeah,
just
it's
feel like
you have to, it's like you
Yeah.
have to have events occur. But I was thinking about that
Yeah.
earlier today. Like, it's like every 10 years, 80 things happen. Like if you look at the actual timeline, to like a non-player or whatever, it's like there's like a really long gap of nothing happening, and then 50 things happen because that's when that expansion is occurring. Like that seems really, really, fake and stupid. Where if they did kind of slow it down, like you're saying, Bear, and kind of like let a more gradual expansion of stuff happen, or a gradual, evolution of events, it might seem a little more realistic.
at the same
Spread
time,
out.
this is a video game, so it's not like a book
Sure.
where we can like have
Exactly.
slow
It
moments.
doesn't
And
have
it's
to
like,
be. Yeah.
and just the nature of what WoW is and how it's played and everything, it's like you can't scale it back from what it is.
R-
I mean, you can kind of do it when you create a new character just through the leveling zones, but like, I don't know.
Well, and you got to think about like Cataclysm takes place over like 3 years, canonically.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing with Wrath. Wrath is like almost 4 years, I think. And then all your classic content, like from coming through the portal to like BC, is like 8 years, I think. It's like a pretty big span of time. So like in the actual story, the issue that I think people do is like they try and glean really important story elements from like a single like scroll text NPC thing, and I think that's a big disservice just in every aspect of it.
Also, consider that the coming through the portal, that wasn't even classic WoW, that was Warcraft, the
Right,
real-time
right.
strategy game.
Right.
So we're
The real-time
operating a game that's essentially, because we have the first chapter in the story, like the first game, we have the first like 3 chapters, and now we have like the Silmarillion, but it's 10 billion times longer than the original books or anything like that. Like
Right.
it's just kind of like, I don't know. There's just so much. So it's kind of overwhelming, and it's like, well, what do you do after a certain point?
The entire story that we know it from coming through the portal is about 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 40 years.
And that's a lot of stuff and no real time skips.
Yeah, right. Nothing like look-atable. Okay, well, let's wrap this one up, fellas. What do we think? What I know Bear's answer.
Well, you.
Okay, all right. Let's give it a. Give me your answer, and then tell me why.
Tell you why. In the end,
What is the
do we answer?
question?
Horde
Yeah, you
versus
need to-
Alliance, fellas.
All right. Well,
Bear, I'd like to hear your dissertation first.
well, while I absolutely hate the Alliance, and I'm pretty sure all of them should go on for a long walk of a short pier. I gotta say I like the Horde a lot more, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know, unheard of.
Yeah, we're.
But
Yep.
I do I like Horde because it's when it comes to fantasy, I don't we've gone over it. But like humans are just boring to play in a fantasy game. The characters I've enjoyed way more on the Horde side. The progression of story, like it's just all the characters and the locations I like a lot more too. I don't like Stormwind as much as I like Ogrimmar. Ogrimmar is just cooler. I don't know. It's just the Horde feels like it's a more center stage for World of Warcraft. You know.
Sure.
So
Sure.
and I feel way more. This is enjoyable instead of I'm running around as a human in this standard fantasy city that looks like every other fantasy city around all these other humans, and it's just like. So
Yeah.
the only thing I will admit, I think some of the leaders for the alliance are really cool. So
Sure.
Yeah.
That is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's. Yes.
I mean,
Great.
they have to have some memorable characters. They've got to have good characters, or else it's like, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, and I just finished Wolfheart again today. Fun book if you guys haven't read it. That's everyone. That's not. It's not these geniuses. I'm talking everyone. But it's about like Varian and Gen Greymane, and some Night Elves. Really good. Varian is a great character. The dynamic between like Varian beating up his son and everyone watching Varian beat up his son is compelling storytelling, and the Alliance does actually have some good characters for sure.
Gaming
Agreed.
industry has taught us anything from the past 10 years. People love sad dads.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Dylan wants to kiss get sad dads.
It's true.
All right, Dildor. Let's hear your thesis.
So, my analogy, especially for you, Mr. Music Man, is that Alliance is like the major key and Horde is the minor key. Where the minor key has like a more like dark edge to it, and it's more monstrous and everything, and how it's kind of this motley crew of factions who aren't completely like they're not identical in their ideologies. Like the Undead and the Tauren are there for their very different reasons. And I think just because it has that extra like flavor, like edge to it, is what makes it interesting. And that's why like I like bounce off of like Final Fantasy 14 is like, what if every race was some variant of twink, where it's like, here's the twink with pointy ears, here's the twink with horns, and I'm just like,
It really is
no.
what that game is.
Here's
It's
the
like
here's the rabbit person.
Right, it's you're either a twink or a furry twink, and I'm just like, oh, okay. Whereas like now you can be like a giant monster muscle furry instead. And I don't
True.
know, orcs are cool, zombies are cool, but
They're
I
not
don't know.
zombies. They're Forsaken.
Oh,
Nice.
oh boy.
Using the cannon.
Yeah,
eh?
that's
Yeah,
racist.
right. You fucking
Yeah.
clown.
Go back in your grave, Poindexter, undead.
Ooh. So which is it? Which one do you
Horde.
pick? Horde.
Horde is good.
Yeah.
Alliance has good stuff, but it just Horde is more interesting and cool. But both sides have good characters like Varian and Jaina and Anduin and Gen and various dwarves.
That's it. Yeah.
And,
Yeah. And that's it.
and some Draenei in there whose
Oh,
names I do not
champion.
know.
Velen, Urel.
Yeah, there's there you
Alan
go.
is fuck Velen.
Okay.
Okay.
Sean, Senator from Weedland, you have the
Illinois?
floor.
Weedland.
Yes, sir.
No.
Well, let me open by saying
Okay, well,
no,
I'll do that.
I mean, as
I get it.
as not a huge lore guy, I mean, I've read like The Last Guardian. My experience with the Alliance and Horde is mostly the players, in which case I would probably say I am more tolerant of the Horde players, the player base, although probably 1 in 5 times I want to kill the person I'm in a dungeon with, or one of the people. Um, as far as the lore goes, I usually feel like the Alliance remind me of people in real life who uh, seem to disregard actual ethics in the name of the cause that they're championing, which they think is ethical, Like
Right.
you could call out maybe some evangelical religious types in that, where I feel like a lot of the Horde are actually the main champions of the Horde are actually acting out of the good of everyone and the good of the planet and the good of Azeroth and the good of everything. And that could be totally wrong. That's just kind of my loose thing. But
Sure.
I think I like the Horde from an actual ethical standpoint, because it seems like they are more concerned with the real good rather than meeting some type of um, perceived criteria or something like that. I,
Sure.
I, I like the Horde because I feel like more of the players are grown adults, and because lore wise, they seem to actually care about the real good, not just the superficial good.
Hmm.
Superficial.
So I like the Horde for those two reasons.
Oh, he's casting it there. I guess it's down to me.
It is gonna be you, my friend.
I struggle with this a little bit because there's a lot that I really, really enjoy about the Horde, the diversity of like races and how they really fit the entire like concept of like culture in this world together. Really comes together really well in the Horde because it's really easy for like the human to get along with the like 5 foot human and not the 7 foot human. I feel like there's not like a lot of like culture breakdown there or any kind of real issue. They all speak common. But I think the concept that like orcs allied with taurens, allied with trolls, for a lot of very dynamic and different needs and reasons and motivations, I think makes for a really good story and what would ultimately be a more believable faction. And kind of like what Sean said, the leaders are a little bit more. Varian's a good leader, and he's a really interesting character. And he's not really naive, but like pick any night elf leader, and they are just like wickedly naive. Like in Wolfheart, when Maiev betrays everybody, you're like rooting for her. You're like, Malfurion, you are such a stupid, useless, fucking naive character. And Varian bitches him out for it. You're at a point where you're like, these characters clearly are, good people, but they are so intensely naive. It's the same reason why there's points in this book and then in even War Crimes where you're like rooting for Garrosh. You're rooting for like Garrosh loyalists because you're like, this is a very real and
Yeah.
very, it's a flawed character, but he doesn't have any kind of weird naivety about how the world works and how you interact with other people.
It's almost like some of the Alliance champions are acting out of following the rules, as opposed to actually having a deep moral conviction.
Right. And then they're lambasted when they do have it. Like, the big plot point in Wolfheart is that Varian doesn't want to allow the Gilneans into the Alliance because he thinks they're traitors. He thinks Gen is a coward because he built the wall and doomed like half the Gilnean people after he turned them all into Worgen. And then refused to help
Didn't the
out.
Night Elves create the Worgen thing?
They did, but he asked for the help of a sorcerer who opened the pocket dimension in the Emerald Dream that the Worgens existed in, and then brought him in. And it was really, it's great because Malfurion also takes credit for that because he's a fucking dunce. But he's also mad at him because the Gilneans refused to give aid during the Third War. And so
Well, they weren't even a part of the Alliance.
well, right, but neither was anyone. It was just the nations of men. It was like Lordaeron and Stormwind and I guess elves up north that were fighting.
Yeah, because weren't the gnomes fighting off the trogs at that time as well?
Right, exactly. So there's
They
a
were
lot.
barely
Say the
in
Trogs didn't
line.
wipe out the gnomes.
Yeah, but there's a
Yeah.
big portion there where like Varian is absolutely 110% right. Like Gilneas and Gen really shouldn't be trusted. Like they refused aid a bunch of times. Terrible, horrible amounts of suffering and loss of life happened. And then he's like browbeaten by like every fucking Alliance character because he's like, I don't want these
Yeah.
stinking mutts in the Alliance. And like the entire point of the book is like, Varian, be nicer.
I think that something that I dislike about the Alliance a little bit too is they are so against Arthas culling Strathholm. And that seems like, to me, that seems like the right thing to do. You
Right.
know? Like, Arthas is like, we need to eliminate suffering. And so he calls Strathholm. While Jaina and Uther are like, well, you can't kill people no matter what, because you can't. And it's like, it just seems
Right.
misguided. It just seems misguided, where Arthas is like, to me, the good guy. You know, he's like, it's like tragically sad, but I feel like he's doing what he has to do to prevent those people from living a horrible undeath of agony, you know?
Right. Well, and that's part of the hubris that you see with like a lot of the paladins in lore.
The Alliance reminds me of like the Catholic Church.
Right.
Oh boy.
For real,
Here
for real.
we go.
No, they do, and I don't have some big report for that, but it's like, we're doing the right thing. We're gonna crusade, and we're gonna Inquisition, and we got to do all this stuff because
Right.
we think that we have to, and blah blah blah, and we're following the rules to a T, fully regardless of what we could actually evaluate as right or wrong for like the good of people.
Right. Well, that's a great point, and I think for me,
The old Catholic Church, not the new.
right.
Sorry, Catholic viewers.
Viewers. There's a lot of that, and for me, like I said, the races, like I like it. I like Night Elves. I like Draenei. I like Worgen. That's about it. It really falls a lot shorter for me in that respect. Also, I'm sure there is like 10 years of just like Stockholm syndrome. Like I have PvP'd against so many Alliance, both in like Battlegrounds
Yep.
and like World PvP. Like I'm just used to killing Night Elves. Like that's
Yeah.
and gnomes.
They
Like I'm
deserve to
just
die.
yeah. I'm just used to it. It's just where I'm at right now. So, in my mind, I like playing Alliance. When I play Alliance, I have some characters that I play on. I enjoy it. I like Alliance content. There's a lot to it, but I think overall the Horde, even in like a meta perspective, like there's just more going on. And there's a lot more dynamic characters, and even the ones that were like heinously evil are still very useful and valid. So
Well, with this stuff, it's more important that you're interesting to read than you're doing the right thing,
right. Right.
which I guess kind of goes against what I said before, but I don't know.
Wow. Well, we settled the dispute. Everyone likes the Horde.
I don't hate the Alliance. I started there, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
I-
They seem generally a little misguided. They seem a little bit more into the rule. They're like the police. They're a little more into the rules than what's
Okay,
than
boomer.
what's good. Yeah, for real.
Well,
Anyway,
we accomplished something tonight. Thanks everybody for tuning in to what has
Yeah.
got to be the longest episode.
Yeah,
it's
this is
like-
the curse. The episodes that I'm on are like 2+
yeah,
hours.
Fucking,
they are. That is true. That
well, I
is
think it's just
true.
because we have another
yeah,
fella
more
in here
people.
speaking.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot. I think like. Fuck! I don't know. What do I know?
Yeah, you think what?
I don't think this is a very long episode, but I could be
2
wrong.
hours and 10 minutes.
Oh my god.
Fuck me, never mind.
It's long enough.
That's
I'll get this out pretty quick for you fellas. I don't know what we're gonna do. Maybe we'll do a gamer news next week. Maybe not. If there's not any news, I don't wanna. And we only committed to 2 episodes monthly, so.
Leave a comment.
Yeah,
Leave a
if you're
comment.
still here and you're listening, we didn't do it last week because our friend Dylan had smoker's cough or something. I don't fucking know. His throat was fucked, so we couldn't record. So
yeah, we were planning on doing a gamers. We were planning on doing this topic last week, but I don't know. I think he had like a sinus infection or something. I don't know, something a weak person would get.
Yeah, he's not here, so fuck him. And he probably doesn't listen to the end of these, so...
yeah, he missed it. He missed the last one where I really got mean. I didn't. I was very cordial.
If you have an interesting idea, leave a comment. Someone already talked about TF2.
Yeah,
dude.
Okay. I think he's joking, but at the same time, I'm like...
Dude, you guys just want to...
Is?
Yeah, that's the guy who drew that amazing art last podcast, by the way.
Fantastic.
Thank you,
Intanius.
Perito.
He's a part of the
Honestly,
Twitter Burrito group.
Yeah,
so.
dude, he's
That's a good one.
He's a king. I love that puppy lab. Very good guy.
Burrito.
Yeah, Perito. Do you guys want to just like play TF2 for next week?
I've literally.
Are we really gonna do a TF2 video?
Dude,
in 2029?
Yeah, dude. Why not?
You could have Rob on for TF2.
Yeah, I could have Rob on for TF2.
I mean, have you ever played it, Dylan? No, Dylan. I'm sorry, Sean. I'm sorry.
I've never played the game.
Wow, that would be interesting. That would be interesting.
Maybe we'll do that. We'll ask Dylan if he ever comes back.
Just require me. Yeah, I'll just log X hours into TF2, and I'll be the guy with the bullshit takes.
Yeah.
I was this episode.
Nah, you had great takes, Sean. Okay, fellas, we'll wrap that there. We'll be back next week or the week after. Subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/Guildies podcast. I will.
There's one patron on there, and I've actually heard he's incredibly handsome.
Yeah, handsome and.
Also, he hates women and commits tax fraud. So.
Oh my god! I didn't hear that.
He hates women and commit.
Yeah, I don't know who he is though. I don't know.
Yeah, here, let me.
But he does love women.
Yeah, I've got his social security number here. If anyone's interested.
Tell us so we know who it is.
It's 38.
Patrons. No, I can't say it.
Free guitar lessons for
Yeah. No.
Do you actually have my social security number?
No. Why would it give me your social security number?
I mean, I typed it in.
Sean pissed his pants for a second.
Wait, really? No, it didn't fucking do your social security number.
Yeah, it was like patreon.com/enter your social security number.
Patreon.
Yeah, I gave this talking moose my social security number.
Yeah, I thought it was a monthly charge, but lately it's been like it's a daily
charge.
Yeah,
lately it's been an identity charge.
It's patreon.ru, right?
Patreon.ru.biz.1.
Yeah, it's like a museum.
Yeah.
Real domain.
Also, in the next week or two, I will be trying to get all these onto regular streaming platforms.
True.
So I'll be collecting the tax from you fellas for the hosting stuff. It's like $5 a month, so I actually probably.
Damn, we're already in debt, so you're just gonna keep taking the money and catch up.
That's how you make a business. That's.
Hey, bro, you're getting $1 a month from me. Take it out of that.
Yeah. I don't need any more from Sean.
Sean's losing more than all of us.
Nah, dude, I'm losing sleep doing this, bro.
We should all subscribe to the Patreon.
That's what I said. We could boost the numbers that way. I don't know.
That would be so funny, dude.
We're just like,
we got 4 members.
Woo!
I wonder who they are.
Woo! Yeah.
And we just like shit on each other in the comments.
Yeah, that's a great idea. You know what I'm
I
doing.
was gonna comment the other day on a video, just like boost it, but I forgot I have my full name on YouTube, and I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Make a separate one. I do that. I like and I shouldn't. No, I'm not. divulging.
Why would you
anything else.
admit to that?
Yeah, listen, I don't do that. Listen,
We'll edit that in post.
yeah, well,
People
yeah.
come in, it's like, look at all these. Oh, these people get likes in that, and at the end, it's like, oh yeah,
Listen,
I like.
if you're telling me that
Like,
no one
whoa,
anywhere to get seen has padded their stuff a little bit, you're lying to me, and everyone has and does.
Yeah, let's pull the old play out of the old electric drive-in
Yeah.
handbook.
Oh, dude.
Anyway, we're nearly at. It's nearly 3:30 for me. We're going for a while.
Yeah, we should end this. Basically, this will be up in the next 2 weeks on regular streaming platforms. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad. Is your mom hot?
Tell your dog.
Is your
Tell your boyfriend.
Joe, if you see your mother's hot, send
yeah
an email.
yeah,
If your mom's hot, send us a picture.
Yeah.
and
Wait.
then I'm
No,
gonna make Jibby market this one pretty hard. Listen, this is his job.
I'll post this on Michigan local metal bands Facebook pages.
There you go.
Yeah. So anyway, if you want to find Sean, go to Michigan.
Yeah. All right, fellas.
Just go to your local beer store.
I'm gonna this is
Talk to your local dealer and ask for the guy that.
ask for the fucking drunk Irishman away.
Just your weed man 3 times in your bathroom.
Just follow the trail of beating up people for no reason and just drunk.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right, that's it. You fellas have a good night, and thanks everyone for
right.
tuning in.
I love you all.
Toodaloo.